We are kicking off the week here basically flat for the overall market as we're keeping an eye on tech once again, specifically semiconductors, Nvidia. Let's be honest, it's Nvidia. Back to the downside here this morning to the tune of about 1.6%. Already pre-market leading the market lower, but you can see we're trying to bounce right now. That's helping out the NASDAQ overall, but futures slipping here ever so slightly on the back of more weakness potentially for this group. Bitcoin downside this morning as well, coming into long-term support. 60,000 could come into play. Equities related to that under a little bit of pressure here as a result as well. We'll talk about DJT back to the upside this morning on an equity raise. Micron potentially moving around here a little bit ahead of their earnings report coming up this week. And AMC, GME moving around as well with some debt consolidation potentially here for AMC being talked about this morning. Happy Monday. It's the last full week here heading into the holidays next week.
Yes, sir. Happy Monday to you as well. Hope you had a great long weekend. Yeah, lots of headlines today as well. And then a new partnership developing here between Shopify and Target. They're looking to get in bet together, I guess, here and help boost some of the online sales that Target has been trying to generate as well. EU news coming out overnight. Apple looks like they're breaching some of the new tech rules of the DMA, Brendo, and they're going to be on the receiving end of a hefty fine if they found guilty.
I feel like this is a every other week occurrence now coming out of the EU. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. But typically it's a speeding ticket type of situation and it gets paid and then they move on. That was Bitcoin, that chart you just saw there. I just wanted to mention Tesla looking pretty good here as well. Positive this morning in a negative environment. I'll flip back over here so you can see. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning there. Long-term support coming into play here. 60,500 held on the first attempt here, but you can see this deep pullback. Not a lot of volume behind it, but significant to say the least here, down 3%. To start the new week. Happy Monday, guys. Neil's back in the chair today. Good morning, guys.
Yes, sir. Back on board and glad to be back. Unfortunately for crypto, kind of wish that was going a little bit better. Got a haircut, actually talked some crypto with my barber over the weekend. And yeah, I don't think he's going to be a happy camper with this one headed back down. I think that 60,000 does get tested this week. So we'll see. If we get a bounce off there, there's going to be some names to play. I'm pretty bearish on Mara this week, today at least. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. Nvidia, it's getting into some key support. That'll be good, at least when you pull back like it did last week. Sometimes you go up like an elevator, down like, so up like an escalator, down like an elevator. And that's what those last 2 days of the week were. You had 8% down, but you're coming into those post-split key support levels. So I think it should be a good one. I know your boys are looking pretty good in the Euro Cup. I'm thankful that England is in a really bad. England's in a weak group. So they haven't played well, but they're at the top of their group. So I know we're both happy about that, at least. Other sports I'm not talking about.
We still need to win. Yeah, the Jays lost 6 in a row now. Like, oh my God. Never stops. Tonight we got Stanley Cup Game 7, though, so that should be important. We'll watch that. We got our hockey hat on today, so we'll be able to watch some of that tonight. So, yeah, look, I think there's lots of opportunities to trade today. We have Nvidia. Will be always traded on the show and continuously looked at. So if you're here for that name, I think this is going to be a good one. We also have Micron, I think. Brendan and Shreve mentioned this reporting in the 26th. Like, that's 2 days away. You know, so you're going to see if this one can continue to hold out this 140 level. We were at 150 in a break and then up to 160 now pull back in, right? Last couple of days have been bad. We even mentioned on Nvidia, remember it was like, oh yeah, you know, it's not going to pull back 20%, is it? It's never going to do that. You know, we're already back down 8%. So, you know, you add on another 2% to that, that's 10% from its highs. And yeah, pullback could be on a little bit here for NVDA. Our daily still is not correct, but you know, 123, 124. It's been a level that we've seen before. So I don't want to panic too much yet. We still have an hour to go before the market opens. Well, I got the sticky note already done, but we'll put that up very soon. And then we have the best event of the week, of course, is the presidential debate, which will be happening on Thursday, isn't it? And why is it starting at 9 o'clock?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know. It's crazy, but anyway, I'm gonna be watching that one.
It seems a little late, but
it's must-see TV for sure.
Yeah, it'll definitely be. Look, everyone's gonna be excited for sure. I think it's going to be entertaining. We'll definitely in Canada up here, it's more entertaining. I would say American elections than Canadian elections, which are
Really? Is that what you would say, Neil?
oh, they come and go pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's not all. I mean, look, other
There's
places.
no entertainment at all with our elections.
No,
Literally
it's over
none.
so fast.
No, but there's not even any. Nobody even really cares. It's like we get low turnout. We got low turnout.
Oh, the turnout. Oh.
We have all like our parties are a shambles.
Which is
apparently.
a shame.
Trudeau. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway.
Oh, he's gonna lose.
It's going to be really exciting to see that debate. Apparently, Joe Biden now has gone in hiding for a couple of days as he practices. For no, I'm serious. This is what
Look, man, you gotta.
Yeah, that's what
you
they're
gotta get
doing. He's
ready.
like on a retreat or something, practicing. This is what I heard. I don't know. Should be fun.
Well, I think one of the watch this segue too. One of the cool things I think that was discussed in the Freedom and Wealth podcast this weekend. Everybody tune in. Episode 4 was absolutely fantastic. The Freedom and Wealth podcast talked about how to get past like that mentality, procrastination, how to do something, how to get better, and it all starts with something small. But a lot of times, you mentioned there's the distraction, there's the other things that are out there. It's all well and good to say, okay, I'm going to do this one thing today, or I'm going to get something done. But it's knowing that okay, these are the distractions I have around me. You also have to be able to get around them. Like say, I know that if I have my phone when I'm going to whatever task, then maybe I want to have my phone charging and away from me so I don't have the distraction when I'm setting up to do something. So maybe Joe Biden knows that he just has to be focused, laser focused
He definitely has to be focused
on just the debate.
Laser focused? I don't know, but he's going to be focused. He's going to be focused.
I'm going to leave that one alone. But yes, I would say that is required. But it's very important. When you're trading, you want to not have distractions. I think when you have a task that's really important, you have to know it's not enough to say, I'm not going to get distracted. You have to acknowledge what your distractions are. And then from that point, you can actually go ahead on working on them.
Just be aware, Fed's Goolsbee on CNBC right now making some comments. So as soon as he started, the market made a sharp right turn and started heading southbound again. So just a heads up, now negative just 0.17 right now, but back to session lows here. The economy outside of inflation is showing signs of cooling. So that's not good. Obviously, we saw that in the last GDP print, but just be aware of some comments coming through right now affecting the overall market. This is DJT, I wanted to mention that real quick. There's the gap, we're trying to fill this gap right now. Gap higher this morning, but filling that gap to the downside from last week, back above $30, I guess. 31 was the close of that gap day, or the last day before the gap down. On an equity raise, or the closing of an equity raise, you can see some pretty strong volume coming in behind this today.
Yeah, absolutely, Brendo. The company's going to have about $40 million of restricted cash become unrestricted due to the effectiveness of the registration statement. The fund adds over $200 million in unrestricted cash that's already held by TMTG as of June 18th, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But, obviously here, the catalyst for this is going to be that Thursday debate, so we'll have to watch how DJT trades until then.
Yeah, just watching the 10-year. Fittingly, they have the yields up on screen with Goolsbee still speaking right now, guys. Just be aware.
Yeah, we love our Fed speaker.
He says it's still restrictive.
You think?
Wow, these guys they just bring out the pain all the time. All these big hot takes. Yeah, so DJT, I mean, it was up a couple points here.
Yeah, the volume's never the best on this, but I have to admit, like it's done. If you look at the last 3 sessions, it's actually been trading on decent volume. Like I'd say pretty solid volume. So when it was heading to the downside, nothing. The last couple of sessions, Thursday and Friday. Friday, of course, had the bigger move to the upside, but the volume's been pretty good. I think this is a little more tradable when it's doing volume at these levels, and we like a round bottom. It is what it is. So you make a distinct low, you go to the daily chart. It's not a double bottom per se, because it didn't actually get to 22, but we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, that when it broke 40, you're probably gonna at least test it. Now you're rounding off this 25 level. I just think there's an opportunity here I'd call it like a potential squeeze. So 29 was Thursday's resistance. If it can hold above 29, it can definitely make some moves. Up 9%. As I said, the volume isn't going to be as great as trading on Nvidia or trading on GameStop, but the movement's certainly a heck of a lot better if you're looking for something to the upside. I like when a stock has that kind of a distinct sell-off, and then you get a big volume bottom, which is what you got on Thursday and Friday. Big turnaround off of a lot of volume. And now if it holds 29, it's got a long way to go to the upside. I'm not really saying it's a great value. I don't necessarily think this is something you hold. I think it's just something that you trade. And as long as it's over 29, I think there you can look for longs.
I mean, yeah, we're sort of just been talking about that before we went over, and I think this is just a name of, you're going to want to watch it for the next couple of days. I mean, we have the debate. I mean, it's not affecting the stock in any kind of way. I mean, Truth Social, I don't know if that's ever going to really get off the ground. We don't have it here in Canada. And that doesn't mean anything. We're 40 million people here, so. But at the end of the day, a little bit of a pullback. It definitely got going here in this pre-market. I still like this $29 level. I mean, we sort of bounced off there. It was where it was hovering all morning. So I think if you can get a dip buy, which I think you will be able to, into 29, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then, if you do want to hold it for Thursday or Friday, and you just think that, I don't know, what rallies the stock? Like, does President Trump have to just win the debate hands down? Like what? Like I just don't know what really rallies this thing. They've already talked about True Social losing a lot of money, only getting 5 million in ads or something like that. Whatever that number was, it was really bad. And it started the stock obviously going here from $75, $80 right down to 22. This isn't a month or not even. This is like in 15 days right there back in. So I would just say you're trying to hold out for some of these levels. So 24, 25 would be great. And if you want to start the buying now, it's fine. Just understand that I think you got to punch out, breaking back down here, 24, 25. So I think it's not great to buy a stock up 9%, but at the same time, it's not horrible. I think you can give yourselves that 10 or 20% worth of a shot here. And maybe it gets back. I don't know if it gets to 80. Did you see what the short
80 for sure.
Short float was?
Hold on, so let me get.
I have my trade ideas. I didn't even load it up yet. So.
Yeah, I got it up here. You know what? We still aren't getting a short float from trade ideas on DJT. I would imagine, I'll try to check another source there, but sometimes when you have something which isn't the largest float in the first place, like it's only about 44 million shares. It's really sometimes just about, okay, well, you have a lack of availability of shares out there that people are essentially willing to sell. And a lot of times you can get like a de facto squeeze and something like that.
Yeah, this only says 4%, 4 or 5%. So yeah, 5 million shares on 97 million float. So 4.5%, 5% right there coming through. So yeah,
it's more momentum than it is. Like it's not like a structural like GameStop. It's not Carvana. I think you just play when it's strong. You just don't want to be getting in its way. And when it's trending back to the upside like this, I think you look for long opportunities. But if this thing gets anywhere near like $40, like 40, 42, I'd be paying for locates for us here at Real Trading, which I'm sure we have to pay for locates. I haven't checked this morning, but if you get into that range, I'd be looking for a short if it's sniffed 40s to 42 this week.
All right, let's bring in Michael Noss here to kick off the week and get a look at, from a higher perspective, where we are in the overall market. Obviously, all-time highs to end last week. Bit of a pullback, though, and an interesting candle forming on the weekly chart here, Mr. Noss. I saw you threw that in here first off, but paint the picture. Give us the narrative you're thinking here when it comes to, is it finally time to see maybe a little bit of not only a pullback from the market's perspective, but tech and semiconductors as well?
I am thinking that finally we're going to see some rotation, but I think I should kind of outlay my bias here and that I'm bored of Nvidia and I'm bored of, I still own some and that's obviously been good for my portfolio, but as a trader, and I think a lot of people kind of agree, is that, it's not fun when the market is being led by a single instrument or a single security, and that's going up every day. And if you don't own that, then you're not having so much fun. So just to get my bias out of the way, but when I went through my weekly charts, like I always do, I did notice something that was very interesting that I thought I'd present to you guys. So this is what Brendan was talking about. This is the weekly chart of the S&P 500, and we are focusing on last week's candle. You can see a pretty big topping tail there. And a lot of this came from, we'll show the chart of Nvidia in a bit, but a lot of this came from, I think, I just ran the numbers this morning. We have $76,000 or $76 million of insider sells on Nvidia next week. So the guys who are in the company, the CEO, the CFO, all these guys, they're starting to sell out. So that might be a catalyst for this kind of rotation. But as always, we need to see the charts confirmed. So just put that topping tail in your mind, and then we're going into this chart, which I talk about a lot, which is the RSP. So we're going to do cap weighted versus equal weighted on a lot of things. So let me quickly explain what that means. So both of these charts, the RSP that you're seeing now and the S&P 500 you saw before, have all of the same 500 names in them. However, the S&P 500 is what they call market cap weighted. So for example, Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, all those big guys make up like 35% of the index. So if all of those companies got taken out tomorrow, then the S&P 500 would be down 35%. This RSP is equal weighted. So it means each company has 0.5% weighting in the actual index. So what they can be used for is they can show that when we're seeing a nice strong candle and a pretty bullish price action here on the RSP, and you can notice that we closed at the high of the week on the RSP last week, and then we also closed nearly the low of the week on the S&P 500. It shows that yes, a lot of the big name caps were down, and that weighed down the S&P 500 or the SPY, the thing that we all look at. But equal weight under the hood actually did okay this week, and this looks like a pretty bullish price action to me. The same thing will go here with a little zoomed in version of the Qs, and the reason I had to zoom in here is because you can see we closed, yes, we made an all-time closing highs, and that's of course bullish, but we basically didn't move last week. We had a big spike up, we retraced, and you can see this little tiny candle with the body of the candle barely moving. And then we go to the next chart, which is the QQQE. So that is the equal weighted version of the QQQ. And look at that candle where we has a nice green full body, opened near the lows, closed near the highs. So had a really strong week. Again, if you take out Nvidia, and this looks like a pretty bullish chart to me. It looks like we have a potential to break out on these equal weighted indices. So last but not least, I want to show Nvidia. So NVDA, you can see, again, ignore that topping tail. That's some sort of weird post-split thing. I think that happened. But we had this nice push down last week and closed almost near the lows of the week, again, with all of the insiders starting to run for the door. And then the next chart we have here is XSD. I'm bringing out all the weird ETF for you guys. This is how I can say I go through 150 charts a day, because I go through all these ETFs. This is an equal weighted semiconductor ETF. So it's showing, yes, all of the semis out there, but it's not going to be entirely made up of Nvidia the way the SMH or other semiconductors could be. So not a horrible week. It closed off of its lows as opposed to at its lows, showing that, again, we may be in for some rotation. So that's the point I'm trying to make, I guess, the grand point with all of this. If you look at the cap-weighted indexes, they look like they were putting in some topping tails last week. But then if you look at the equal-weighted indexes, they closed at their highs, and they're looking pretty strong this week. What that may tell us is that there's some people, like the CEO and the CFO of Nvidia, that are taking some of these profits and deploying them into other things. So that makes me excited. So I'm going to be spending the day before I'm on the after-hour shows with Sean. I'm going to be spending most of my week trying to say, where do I think this money's going to flow? Because I think that's the place that we want to focus the next coming weeks and months as swing traders and investors.
Yeah, natural next question is, so what do we do next coming out of this, specific area of the market where there's been so much attention? But yeah, great look. It's something that I think a lot of people can benefit from, but don't necessarily know the steps. That might be another, conversation that we can have. Know the steps and know the instruments to actually go through those steps to get that wider perspective view of certain areas of the market.
Absolutely. And part of it's brute force, right? Going through many, many ETFs. But as always, if you guys want my ETF list, we have it in Trade Ideas. So if you go use TraderTV20 for 20% off at checkout, you can hit me up on Twitter, you see below. You can email info@trade-ideas.com. I'll put something up on the back end that will be Michael's ETF watch list that Trade Ideas subscribers can start to go through if you're a nerd like me and you want to start going through 150 charts a day.
There you go. Questions answered for you. We'll look forward to some ideas coming up after 4 o'clock tonight. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
I don't know if I trust anyone that goes through only 150 charts
Yeah, what is he?
a day.
Yeah, what happened?
No, I think
Slow day or?
No, I just think like really like 150. Like, come on, 151's a much better number for a lot of reasons. Michael, you can get an extra one.
You should be able to get one extra one.
It's just so random.
If you don't look at a firm, just look at a firm. You know, look at something like that. You know, throw it in there. Shopify, some Canadian content.
Shopify,
Canadian banks. You know, look at that.
Well, the Canadian
Look at
banks.
DJT. You know.
Well, DJT, Canadian banks, they belong almost.
He doesn't
in the same
seem to be
bucket
too
of
impressed with
quality.
Nvidia. You know, I'll talk to that guy tonight about that.
Well, the interesting thing, like I see what I get that point. I get that point of, okay, well, we know the story with Nvidia. It's amazing, blah, blah. Everyone probably already owns it in their long-term accounts. That said, when you're a day trader, there's nothing boring about that. You know, because it doesn't matter when you're day trading. It doesn't matter whether it's at all-time highs. Ours isn't split adjusted, but it doesn't matter whether it's at an all-time high or what the actual how overweight the big cap tech names are. It's like they're the only things moving the market. Who cares? We just get to trade that price action. So if you're looking for only like longs that you can find for days and weeks as a swing trader, I can understand why Nvidia might not be as appealing to you at these levels. But for a day trader, and you have so much to go off of. I mean, you have a monster 131 level, which we'll probably talk about. Big close, big on Friday, Thursday, big high on Friday. Then you also have this 127, which was like a big level consolidation a couple of weeks ago. Then a hold of that, and then a breakout. Then you had resistance and a close down around that 127 price. So you've got that for a pop and fade idea. If you're only looking for longs, you're almost getting into some big dip buy levels from when the split happened. So there's nothing boring about it from a day trading perspective. But I can understand that whole, you're looking for the next thing that might go to get to some all-time highs instead of talking about Nvidia every single day. Then you want to see what other sectors are out there. And sometimes you might want to see what the analysts are saying. Adara.
Planet Fitness kicking off the list. You're getting this upgrade from TD Cowen up about 2% right now this morning. Also up about 2% this morning is Anheuser-Busch getting this upgrade from UBS. Exane BNP Paribas upgrading Coca-Cola here. And last but not least, recent Chinese EV IPO Zeekr here getting an upgrade from Citigroup. So interesting look for this one as well. On the downgrade side, we're kicking off Evercore ISI downgrading Liberty. And now we have 3 consumer downgrades from Exane BNP Paribas. First, we have Clorox here with a 130 price target. Then we have not one but 2 beverage companies getting downgrades here from Exane BNP Paribas, PepsiCo, and Monster Energy. So lots of interesting names here, guys.
Yeah, Zeekr, that's an interesting one. It hasn't really done any volume this morning. We'll get that out of the way. I think sometimes I was just looking at Pepsi because I wanted to see where it was bouncing on the daily chart, and it's actually not bad. But Zeekr, okay, fine, you give them an upgrade. But remember what we've always said about the trend is your friend? Well, since this has come to market, I don't know if you would notice this, but I can't help but notice that it's got lower highs and lower lows, which last time I checked was still a downward trend. So upgrade or not, you show me where it's breaking this trend, and I think then you'll be a little more confident in longs. Maybe it's bouncing off 20 here. I don't know. It's held 20 last week pretty much every single day, so 20 looks like a good level to maybe play off of for dips. But if it gets above 23, so look at this, look at how clean the charts are, like 23 support, 23 resistance, it breaks and holds above 23, then you've got yourself a rounded bottom. So I've heard people say they got nice cars, I've seen that in the chat, and I've heard Sharif talk about them decently or positively in the past, but trend is your friend, and that's still in a downward trend. 20 looks like about the only place to trade off of, but the 209 shares worth of volume would suggest you got to wait for a catalyst that's better than that upgrade.
Yeah, I'm getting close to upgrading Palantir here as well because, I mean, you're going to fall right into this 50-period moving average right now. Palantir's gotten hit from 26 back down to 23 and change. I mean, this is a name that, when it was starting to go up, everyone, thought you missed it. But this has these ranges, right? 27, we sort of said that could have been possibly a top. And then we talked even about this 26. It did break the 2660, which was nice. But back into the 50-period moving average. Look, I think data is king, and this is just another one of those sort of founder-led companies. Alex Karp is still there. There's no reason why this can't continue to, make higher highs here at some point. So I think it does break this 28 in the next little while, probably on their next earnings report. So I want to be buying of dips here in Palantir, and I think we're getting close enough to that. So it's on my radar here at $23. Sticky note is now out.
Just reading an analyst note on HubSpot. Once again this morning, there's been a lot of rumors floating around over the past couple of weeks regarding Google. I've seen numerous times potentially kicking the tires on HubSpot. That's going to be a really tough deal to get through regulatory scrutiny, but huge day on Friday, worth noting. That's a daily chart, so huge day on huge volume as well. It is gapping down once again this morning, but trying to hold some significant levels here with more CRM type action.
Yeah, Brendo, like you mentioned, a lot of merger and acquisition news coming here. Seeking Alpha reporting that Amazon and Google are both, mulling this one over, interested in HubSpot after earlier reports that Google was in talks with the name. Bloomberg reported last month that Google was progressing in their discussions, and there have been reports that it could be an all-stock deal, as Brendo mentioned to me off camera. A very small float for this name, given that it's $30 billion, about 50 million share float.
Yeah, another one that might be in the running for a split here as well. I mean, it's a $580, $600 stock, depending on what week it is. So no reason this couldn't trade at $100, guys.
Yeah, I think there's been lots of talk about the HubSpot deal. I think when there's multiple players like that and all of them are of the ridiculously large cap land, and one of you, I didn't catch who said it, but the regulatory issues and the holdup is probably going to be long on that deal, even when they get it going. So I don't know if that's going to be a trade today, or if there's anything, even if they announce like a deal and it's all stock, that's not the most tradable out there. But what you can look at is Alphabet. And I wanted to double check the actual price here for Alphabet's 52-week high. So I have 180 and 41 cents for Alphabet's 52-week high here. And we're at 179.80 right now. So you're less than $1 away from Alphabet's 52-week high right at the open. You could be breaking out into a fresh top. And the crazy thing about Alphabet, well, it's not crazy, because I think it's the not crazy thing about Alphabet is I pull up a weekly chart, and I don't know why it went small there, so we'll just trusty trade ideas, weekly chart. It hasn't done anything which is terribly parabolic the last month and a half. Like, there's been some big moves going into this, but the last month and a half, it's been a pretty steady and slow grind to get to those highs, and suddenly you could be breaking it out without as much fanfare as the other stocks have had. Every time we sneeze, Apple's doing something insane, and every time we sneeze, Nvidia's making power moves, and everyone talks about Microsoft and Meta. I feel like Google kind of laying here under the radar, and you could get that breakout today. 180.5 goes, 181 being the even dollar level up there, and then suddenly you have blue sky setup here for something like an Alphabet. Anytime there's deal talk, a lot of times you'll think, the acquiring company might go down, but I don't know if there's anything imminent coming in that. So the trend is your friend as far as I'm concerned. Google looks like it wants to break this out this week. I don't see any reason why it's not going to test this 180. Maybe not a ton of volume just yet, but yeah, it's undeniable that when a lot of these names in the last couple of weeks have made these consolidation breakouts into all-time highs, your first thought is, if there's buyers above 180, to join them, not fight them. I think it's just a lot easier to do. Sometimes you get a reversal, but you can always get out of a breakout pretty quickly if you don't like it.
Yeah, we're talking about HubSpot there as well. I just think that, HubSpot, we have the grown-up version here with CRM. This is just, again, they got hit pretty badly on earnings, right? But look at the comeback from 210 all the way back up to 244. So this looks like it's starting to get some legs here again as well. But this 250 just on the daily looks like it could be a problem. So I don't know. If you did buy the dip, we've seen some, dip opportunities in PanW, went back up to the 200 period, up to the 50 period, then faded back again. I think this could be something. Obviously, you'd like CRM to get back to its glory days here, but they've sort of slipped up a little bit. No one's really paying software for service right now. So we'll have to wait to see if it gets going. I still like it. I like the name. I like Mark Benioff. I like everything about Salesforce. And with HubSpot getting some love, this name, probably goes as well. So, it's always nice to get some action in this space. But 250 looks to be something here. I think if you break it, then I think you can go. So, we'll definitely be watching out for CRM breaking through 250 at some point.
It was also, I was noticing on the weekend, I was reading an article about CRM products in general. There's a ton of, if not free, much lower priced competition that's coming out now. I mean, Notion has a ton of available products that are, it's not going to be as comparable as a CRM or HubSpot, but, increased competition too.
And I heard that their AI offerings were not up to snuff, Brendo, that we really were not as user-friendly as some of the more different offerings that we're getting from some of these traditional makers. So we'll have to see if they can pin that out, because they were talking about that originally. Remember, Mark Benioff was saying he wants to keep AI local so you can kind of keep everything secure. Your data stays locally instead of sending it to the cloud. He was one of the originators of that, but hasn't executed yet.
Yeah, we'll see if some consolidation comes in the space as well. Let's get a look at the overall market here at 9 o'clock before we get into individual names.
55.35, guys. That's where we close out on Friday on the ES September contract. We're a little bit below that right now, 55.31. Look, if we can hold this quarter point level at 55.25, that's where we topped out between the 12th and the 17th. If we can hold that level, then that will be good area for support. As resistance, let's look at that 55.75. That's a resistance area from the 20th.
Lots to consider coming up, not only today, but this week as well. If you haven't done so, go grab that, tradertv.live, enter your email in the pop-up, and that's it. You get that every single day in your inbox, not only Monday to Friday, but the week ahead comes on the weekend as well, gives you a whole week preview of what is to come. A couple of trade ideas from Neil and Sean in there as well. So go grab that if you haven't done so already. 5%, this is IBIT, I mean, pick one. As far as crypto ETFs are concerned, they all look like this, but gapping to the downside, big flush early on in the pre-market as well. That's 34.25, trying to hold right now. But crypto itself, as we saw earlier, I'll pull it back up here. That's not it, BTC USD, there we go. Right back to this 60,000 level on the daily chart.
Yeah, I was watching this over the weekend, Brendo, and it kept selling off. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one. But yeah, look, some of the continued sell-off, a rough month, obviously, so far for BTC. Looks like large holder sales are exceeding $1 billion in the past 2 weeks. There's also the strengthening US dollar after that last inflation print, which has a way of hurting crypto, and the strong performance in the US economy market index. So it could be some outflows from crypto into equities. We'll have to keep an eye on this one, but a big sell-off over the weekend.
Yeah, Coinbase, I was noting, not as bad. I mean, it's still 4%, but not as bad as some of the ETFs. There goes 4% right now. Trying to get back to session lows. It's worth noting none of these really significant volume behind them at this point.
Not yet. I mean, Mara is pushing 1 million shares pre-market, so I'd like to say that's pretty decent pre-market volume for them. We can start Coinbase. I just felt like, for me, Mara is likely the one that I'm going to trade today, the miner, and it has more to do with just where it's trading than anything else. They're both exactly the same in terms of failing the 50-period moving average. I just feel like at 217 here on Coinbase, to get back up there and fade off of 225 seems a little bit less likely. But I think when you get something like this, you've been hanging out in a range for a while on Bitcoin, and that trend was pretty solid. But once you lost like 65, it started to accelerate a bit. And until you get to that 60 or maybe even the 58 level, unless I see something distinct, I want to be looking for some short opportunities. And of course, TradingView wants to show me an ad at that moment. Look, if you want to short pops in Coinbase, fair enough. I think 2/4 is probably the level, but it's Mara underneath exactly this 50 period. It's just a much tighter range that the stock has been in. $19, and this 50 period moving average has been a wall. You broke it one time, and even then you wicked and held back above. Like that day where it flushed, you come to a 15. Like this stock, I remember because we were looking for shorts at 19. We didn't get them at the open because I wasn't willing to sit pre-market, which I kind of am right now, and still I'm not getting filled. but you flushed $1.50 only to immediately recover and rehold that 50 period on the daily and rehold support. So if you're underneath 19, I'm looking short. First look is to previous bottoms. That's Friday's bottom and last week's low, this 1865. I'd short to that. If it breaks out, then I short to 19. As long as nothing crazy is happening over on Bitcoin, then I want to look initially short. If it does exactly what it did on the 11th, which is at 9:30, just drops $1.50 and you miss the biggest move, on the way back up, take a shot that it does continuation and a lower high, no problems with that. But if it doesn't work, you don't keep fighting it. Because what can happen is you get that big V-shaped recovery and it gets nasty on you. So my initial look is going to be short underneath that 50 period on the simple moving average on the daily for Mara. If it plays back into 19, we'll take our shot at the open. I'm on the offer now at 45. Haven't gotten a fill, but I'll be sitting here until open.
My little note here that we put out today, just my trading watch list that we'll put out every day. I put on here Coinbase 225 as well. I mean, we talked about this last week, and I said, like, if the NASDAQ starts to go down, you're going to get Bitcoin to get absolutely crushed. The NASDAQ's not even really down that much, and Bitcoin's down from 73, 74 down to 61. You can see it right down here. So it's getting lower, and it's going to break through 60,000. And when it does do that, I don't know why my chart still says Nvidia, but we definitely want to look at Coinbase. And, you know, we write down these levels. It closed at 225. That's where the 50-period moving average is on the 200. I mean, it's just been straight to the downside. You can see we've broke it. I mean, it can break it to the high side. I mean, we definitely know that Coinbase wants to get going. Down 4%, you know, it seems like a lot for sure, but I still like this level. You know, if I'm going to look at, besides the imbalance and stuff like that, you know, definitely created some action there on Friday back up to the upside. Looks like in Coinbase with a nice little rally there at the end of the day. Realistically, we were down here to 221 already. So I'm thinking, like, if you wanted to start a short in and around 223, 224, something like that, wouldn't be the end of the world here. Looking at a top of 225 where you know that you're wrong. So any kind of a bump up for Coinbase is probably worth it. But then again, if you watch this and you're breaking through 60,000, you might want to just punch the short on coin. So, you know, the exchange that everyone looks at is Coinbase. You know, you can't trade Binance or anything like that here. So, you know, the public markets are definitely going to hit a stock like Coinbase. So as BTC goes down, as we talked about, we sort of thought that this was going to be something that could happen. There it goes, downside right now, 217 for Coinbase.
All right, rewind back about 20 minutes or so ago, and you'll get a good technical look at Nvidia from Michael Moss, who was with us, talking a little bit about maybe we see, you know, an extension of this pullback, not only for Nvidia, but semiconductors in general. Lots of insider selling to come end of this week and then into next week for not only this name, but others in the group as well. So what do we do here? Here comes 123, what is that, 30, I guess, session lows pretty much here already for Nvidia once again.
All right, so I've got nothing technical here. Got some quantitative stuff for you guys today. BTIG did a hell of a piece on the weekend, and when they did it, Nvidia was trading at 100% above its 200-day simple moving average. That's unprecedented for a top 3 company, Brendo. The last time a company did that, probably guessed it, Cisco, and it was trading in March 2020, 80% above its 200 simple moving average. In addition to that, Nvidia's up 4,280% in the last 5 years. The last company to do that,
not bad.
Probably a guess, Cisco, 4,460% in 5 years, Brendo. But Nvidia outdoing Cisco here in terms of the last 18 months, up 820%. Cisco, sadly, only got to 413. So BTIG saying, look for rotation.
Yeah, from the technical aspect, we've seen over the past 2 days here, nothing but a heavy selling coming in. Friday was among the highest volume days right at the close as well with the rebalance for Nvidia. Finished the day basically flat, but here we are. New lows coming into play right now.
Well, I can tell you this much. You know, the comparisons between Nvidia and Cisco, I've heard there's a lot of them because in the dot-com boom, obviously Cisco made the big move. I'll give you this much. The nicknames that they had for like the big groups of stocks that led the market, I think were cooler back in the day because the Four Horsemen is just is a better name than the Magnificent Seven. Mag 7, great, good movie, probably been done way too many times, Seven Samurai, like there's just a million different versions of it, but the Four Horsemen, old school. at the end of the day, is Nvidia probably going to have some kind of big pullback? Yeah, of course. Sure it will. But as a day trader, you're never going to, we're not going to see that, that big, massive correction to the 200-period moving average in a day. It's just not going to happen. And if it does, well, we all got bigger fish to fry if something like that happens intraday. So we just care about the price action. And I think the good thing, we're talking about this after Michael was done, it's just so much to look at in terms of key price levels. Mentioning this 127 area, it's just okay, so here's the top. And go back, this is the 12th. And then you look at the next day, it's support. So you already have resistance to support at that 27. I'll fast forward very quickly. And then you even close at the 127, 126 half, but the resistance level up here, 127 and a quarter. So that's an area that I'd look for a resistance. So you could slap a line in there if you want to. 31's kind of an obvious one. You can throw that one in there as well. So if there are pops, I think you want to be fading it in that range. You also have the post-split bottoms, which could come into play this week. That was that massive, the first day split, 117. Clearly that's going to be something if we get down to that price, and then the 121 that got put in. So those are the levels I'm looking for on Nvidia. Decent chance we get a bit of a pop and fade in here today, only because we always talk about these in, I don't know, I tend to think we always talk about these in concert, even though they don't move together. But AMD did a rip your face off on Thursday. Thankfully was able to get out of the way of it. And now you're failing the same levels that you were before, thinking that would be resistance, and it blew right through it. Now all of a sudden you're failing that 160. Looks like 163 was good after all, that lower high. So if we have one of those Nvidia falls and AMD's going up, well, I want to be real patient with AMD and just tell myself, if AMD starts going and I don't understand why it's going, then don't do anything until it gets to 163. And if I short it at 163 and it breaks out from there, then Neil, don't do anything until it gets up to that 166, 67 high. And I'm not saying that Nvidia goes down, AMD goes up, but it's happened a few times in the past, and I want to be ready for it here, but very, very patient. Let it get to the key level that you like for resistance, and then take the shot at AMD. Down 1% into, right now, a flat-ish market, or down 1/3%, so AMD is relatively weak. But if it starts heading to the upside, it doesn't mean I want to fight it the whole way.
Okay, so look, I put on the sticky note here, I put 128, but it's more going to be 127 now. I mean, this has just been really faded out here. When we started right, this thing was 124.50 and change. I just wanted to short it into Friday's close. And then I was like, okay, well, let's get a little more specific than that. And then I looked at where Friday's top was in the afternoon, and that was 128. So I just think that little top right there at 1 o'clock, we were fading it off that. You had that move down, then the rebalance brought it back to the upside, and then you had a huge, huge print at the end of the day, 116 million shares or something in that last minute. So again, a name that's going to do 300, 400, 500 million shares today. It might not because it's Monday and we had that rebalancing and everything last week. So maybe it'll slow down a little bit on the volume side. But at the end of the day, this is a name that people are going to flock to buy, but right now they're not. And we've sort of talked about the winds of change. We had Michael Noss on talking about some insider selling and things like that. So, you are now getting a little bit of a pullback in Nvidia. And I don't think it's anything to worry about. We're just kind of back to where we've been. That 118 has been pretty good for it. I understand, AMD, we did trade some of that on Friday. I think it was actually pretty good for us on Friday as well. But I'm just going to stay with Nvidia because it's a pretty big candle that we just saw coming back in. So you still have 125. You're going to talk about that 120. And then there is sort of that gap fill back from 118 down to 115, 116, that could happen. And then ultimately, the big worry spot would be a drop into 100, 105, which I think could happen by the end of this week, right? So if you get a couple more days today, down $5 today, puts us to 120. You come in tomorrow, and then all of a sudden, you're not too far away from this, right? And it just low volume could hit the name. I don't think it's going to. Only 10 million so far, though. The days of maybe 400 to 500 million like we saw last week are probably done. So if the interest starts to wane a little bit on this name, I could see a good fall happening here for Nvidia. So especially if Micron says something on the 26th, I don't know. I just wonder what the next sort of shoe to drop is for Nvidia, and it looks like it's inside selling right now. So.
Yeah. Might.
We'll wait for it. But all right, DJT apparently had a raise.
Yeah, just noting Micron still among the strongest here this morning as well. Still up more than 2% on the morning on decent volume as well ahead of their earnings report. Yeah, there's DJT, $30 trying to hold right now on a pullback off the highs, but 9% here in the pre-market this morning. This was Friday. They just finalized almost 70 million in funding that's going to go towards operations.
Yeah, Brendo, and so that will give them about $40 million after they pay the debts of restricted cash becoming unrestricted due to the effectiveness of that registration statement that we just talked about, filed last week. That gives them about over $200 million in unrestricted cash as of the 18th. We'll have to see how they trade, but obviously I'm going to keep my eye on Thursday because that's when the presidential debate is.
Yeah, still, if you zoom out, I mean, it paints a little bit different picture. Obviously, it's been 16% kind of a month downside here for DJT.
So
yeah,
big
Patty
shout out
Ice.
to Big Patty Ice in the back. He just hooked us up with some Lindor goodness. Look at that.
Look at this bag, man. We got a CN Tower bag going on
It's
here.
fancy.
Some
This is
Toronto.
salted caramel right here.
This is not my new favorite bag. This is ridiculous.
I love it.
Imported by Lindor. All right. Thank you, Big Patty Ice. We have some chocolates there for everybody. And I don't know what this is. He said these are special. These are from Paris, he said. These are not the Lindor chocolates.
Hey, I don't know what those cookies are.
That's what I'm saying.
They look good.
You had the salted caramel over there?
I love the salted caramel. I like the white chocolate's delicious as well. The only thing, and I was telling Sharif this.
Caramel inside of here.
Sharif didn't know I wasn't going to be in on Friday. So he said he brought me an apple fritter, and then I wasn't here. I was telling him, like, my wife's been doing that too. And I have to really focus on not eating a bunch of junk while I'm hobbled up because I'm not active, I'm not working out, 3-4 times a week all of a sudden because my leg's busted up. So I gotta watch out eating all these chips and all these goodies. I love them, and I know my vice. Like, if that's too close to me, it's gonna be trouble because I could probably finish that bag.
Man.
In a day. How was the cookie though? Was that good?
This cookie is going to ruin the tour.
See now?
Yeah. A little bit of pop culture there. All right. $30. Fabian, you like that one, Fabian? That was good timing. Okay. And this guy's got the Oilers on? All right. I'm feeling good about the Oilers tonight, man. I'm feeling good about the Oilers. It's pretty much a pick-em game, which is going to be exciting. Crazy game.
Oh, my goodness.
Shout out to my wife as well, by the way.
Yo.
Hopefully she's watching. She told me that tour thing. Otherwise, I would not know. $29 right there. Look, I mean, I already said my piece for this name. I don't think this is an investment. I don't think it's anything other than a trading vehicle. And looking to make a little bit of a move here, right? So here it goes. Huge move to the upside. Potential, yes. I mean, we looked at the short float. The best we could find was 4.5%, 5% on short. So I don't think that's necessarily the story. Does it have the potential to go again? Yes, it does. We've already had a huge move, though, honestly, right? Like from 23, 24 up to 30 in 2 or 3 days. That's a great move for DJT. So I'm not sure really what to expect right now. It's a nice move. I think it's worth watching. And I think it's, for this week, if you have a swing account and you like to play these kind of names, penny names, things that can go your 10, 15, 20% in a day, I mean, this has the potential every day this week to make moves. So if you're looking for it, then yeah, I think you found it. This is a name that's going to move around. And just looking back here, even if you just play it as simple as possible, this is a 50-period moving average. Look how it's just sort of, created this huge move to the downside. We've broken it finally firmly back up to the upside. So that's $27 or so. So I would think a drop down into that area and with a confirmation break gets you like 26-ish. And remember, this is going to fill back up. So it's going to probably be around $28, $29 within the first few minutes of open there. And then you can use this area as your area to get out. So, I think it's worth the risk here today. I'll probably look at it. I didn't pay for shorts or anything yet. But if we could drop back into that 26, 27 area, sort of where we closed even 28, I think it's worth a shot. But definitely, I mean, if you're playing macro reasons and stuff like that, I mean, I don't think there's much under the hood here, just other than a chance to rally. So, yeah, have your stops put in, and I think you'll be okay. I'm not expecting crazy halts, but it could. Just without that short float, I don't think it's going to be like up 50, 60%. But DJT, it's done crazier things.
Yeah, 4 cents a share. A little bit less than that for
that's
locates
not that
for us.
much.
So I'm just going to go ahead. And I'm glad you reminded everybody. Like, maybe it doesn't do anything crazy, but if it does, I do want to have the locates just locked and loaded, ready to go. So I paid for the locates on DJT. We sort of talked about this. Like, if it can hold, I'm gonna talk about AFRM because we went over DJT and Sean just kind of nailed everything there. I don't think it's an investment, but if it goes squeezing, you look for a good solid dip buy. But AFRM's on the watch list. They did get the initiation of coverage from Goldman, and at the end of the day, this stock came back after that Apple news. Basically getting rid of their buy now, pay later. This came all the way back after the partnership was announced. But I look at last week's top. It's up 3% on this news. It's held at $30 level a couple of times. If it can take out 32, I think this can go squeezing a little bit here on AFRM. So AFRM is 11% short float, double that, more than double that of DJT here. So I think if you can get through this key resistance level, that 32 level, I want to look for longs on AFRM. I think it plays both ways. Underneath there, I think you'd short into the 31.75 level. And then once you're through that 32 looks like a bit of a buy zone for AFRM. So it needs to get through 32, I think, for the breakout. But if you get to like 31.75, I like the fade first. But it's the breakout that I think is the more enticing for AFRM. Up 3%. It's only an initiation, so it's not that big of a deal, but it doesn't matter. 11% short flow. We've seen what happens when the stock does go.
All right, let's go on to Micron here, another one showing all kinds of strength in a basically flat market, as we were saying, to slightly negative. MU, 2.4%, trying to get back above 142, 143, or 142.80, 143 right now here in the pre-market. But another one that's been under a ton of pressure the past couple of days here. Number of positive notes. Remember, earnings in 2 days for Micron. We also get Nvidia's shareholder meeting on Thursday as well.
Well, that should be another one on Thursday to keep an eye on. Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, Wednesday. Then we got the presidential debate on Thursday. But with respect to Micron, Citi and Baird both commenting. I got the Citi deets here. Couldn't get the Baird. So Micron being bumped up from 150 to 175, so a move up in the price target. It's based on Q3 results and above average consensus. It's being driven by higher sales and better gross margins, obviously, as well as higher demand with the AI wave. Possibly, though, Brendo, potential supply chain issues coming in as a result of the earthquake that took place in Taiwan not that long ago. And keep your eye out for this name. It's up already 65.5% year to date.
Yeah, relatively strong here, as we said this morning as well. Another one showing the same. Meta, guys, up 0.75 into a negative market here.
Meta?
Micron is strong. So Meta?
Okay, we'll look at Meta as well.
Yeah, Micron's strong like a bull. But look, that's not how it ended last week. Last week it ended up getting smoked. Like, you want to talk about the pullback in Nvidia, forget about that for a second. And Micron lost $22 from the top here. That is like 158 all the way down to, okay, it didn't close that low, but it got 158 to 136. $22, man. Like, that's a pretty hefty move. It was double digits when all was said and done for a pullback. So if you get a bounce off a wipeout bottom like that, that looks pretty juicy to me. So you close that 139.5, that puts, and this is very highly creative here, $140. I mean, if you can't see, close at 139 before it was the level of the 140. I think you're just looking long off of that level on any kind of a dip. It might just want to break it out anyways, but I'm not bullish enough. Yeah, I mean, we're under 20,000. The Nasdaq's down. It's hard to just want a straight up breakout in a chip name. So I think this has to get down, maybe test that $140 level. But a strong name over there in Micron. And Meta, when Sean's talking, I'm going to have a deeper dive on Meta, because, you know, that wasn't on my list of things that I liked. I mean, some Amazon looked interesting. Google, obviously, we talked about Nvidia and AMD. But Meta, I didn't look at.
So I just want to answer, probably watching right now, shout out to this, where did it go? My guy here, Mac. Yo, what's up, Mac? Right here. Oh, Mac, look at this guy. He wanted to know what was going on here. He said, fade the pops. What does that mean? So if stock gets going to the upside, that means it's popping. Then let's short sell the name into strength, which would be fade. So that's what we talked about here with Nvidia. And I actually want to do the opposite here with Micron. I actually want to buy the dips. So a fade is obviously, you know, shorting something into strength, popping into strength. So if this dips down in, we need to buy, which is pretty easy there, the strength. So I mean, look, Micron already broke out. It already broke out through this 135. It crushed that 150 a couple days ago, but then it just came right back down in with the rest of the market. I'm still looking at 135. I mean, ultimately, I think that would be the best buying opportunity right where that breakout happens. You always want to look for breakouts levels to hold again, so I think that's a fantastic trade. But for me, I just don't know where to start it. So I said let's look at, again, Friday's close. So if closing prints are going to mean something, that's 140. So let's just wait to see if it gets back into 140. This could be a VWAP dip buy opportunity with only 4 or 5 minutes to go now. So maybe it's 142 that we wind up taking. But I don't want to say maybe if, but like it's just the market's down right now. This is up 2%. I could see a strong name getting hit today, especially if Nvidia is going to keep going down. So for me, Micron is a hold, but a definite attention seeker for me today. I'm already bidding 140. I just don't know, exactly where to execute trades. Look at this. Nvidia right now, $1 million to sell. It's already starting here. You just had a nice little bump up for Nvidia just before this. Boom, to the downside. So here are the NASDAQ imbalances at 925. It looks like they want to buy back Bitcoin a little bit here with IBIT. They want to sell, see, so there goes IBIT a little bit. They want to sell off Nvidia. Ooh, baby, they want to sell Palantir. Arms wide open for that one. Other than that, there's your Micron buy. So yeah, you're going to get, some mixed reviews here off open. So let's wait to see what happens with Micron. No surprise for me about Nvidia, man. We don't have any buy levels even written down for Nvidia. So I am shorting Nvidia all day today, just a matter of where. So
117, nice. Baby.
Yeah, 117. Yeah, if we get down there, then we'll talk about it. But for right now, shorting only Nvidia and only longing Micron.
Just noting that ASTI, there's a huge imbalance on that ASTI 2 million plus there. I didn't see anything as for a reason for that. But yeah, let's talk AMC here. A couple of minutes to go. Downside this morning, back below 450. It was Bloomberg that reported this initially. Not much price action to support it at this point, but looking to restructure some debt.
Yeah, Brendo, they got quite a bit of debt, about $4.5 billion worth of debt. As of March 31st of this year. It's structured differently. So some of it's more near-term debt, some of it's more long-term. There's first lien lenders as well that have the right that are higher in priority. There's other ones that are lower down with lower interest rates. Recall that they raised about $250 million in the last little bit. So trying to take care of that a little bit.
Just be aware as well, UBS with a note there on Q2 24 Tesla deliveries, 420,000, down 10% year over year, which it looks like anyways might be a little bit better than expected, even though it's down 10%. I think a few people I saw last week anyways, a few people mentioning it could be worse. So again, UBS suggesting 10% downside for Q2 24 Tesla deliveries.
So like the first thing, just for AMC, very, very quickly, this won't be any rocket science. I don't know that I'll be on this stock. There's plenty of other things to look at when we talk about the chip names, and we've already mentioned like DJT's out there. I like AFRM, there's Mara. So squeezing AMC underneath this 460 level when it's not moving, I don't know if that's going to be a thing, but 460 was support for a month. Now we're underneath 460, so I think it would short to that level if I was trading it. But Tesla is, I don't think it has to be firmly on your radar, but it's been bouncing off 180 like that's absolutely nothing. Like every single time we get to that price, something significant happens at $180. It's either resistance or support or a clean breakout. So you trade off that level, and I want to play into it. Mara just came in, filled me at the 45 level. I'm giving that to 65 at the open if it breaks that 19s. So I want to be bidding 180. If you get down to that price, then I think that's the one level that makes a lot of sense for obvious reasons, but we're now gone. You've actually broken out the top. You've broken out the double top from Friday and then a resistance level on Thursday as well. So might have to adjust the plan here if Tesla's going to be this strong, and you might not see that 180 level. It seems almost likely that you won't. So I would probably adjust to looking at the previous close, which is 83, the 82 level on dips. I just feel if you get to the 180 today, now when at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the morning, when it's at 182.5, it seems reasonable. At this time, it seems unlikely here for Tesla. So we'll have to adjust and look for a higher low to bid.
All right, just getting set up for everything. So we still have a Coinbase short that we're looking at. We still have this Nvidia short. I put an offer at 124.50 just to see if we can get back up there. I don't know, 124.50 is where sort of where VWAP is. So that's something that we're looking at. We have Palantir, we did sort of talk about that, but not really. I like it down here at 23 just to try it out, to see if we can hold out for a little bit. You know, I don't know, not for a long time, but hopefully for a little bit of time down here in and around 23. I like the shot here for Palantir. I mean, it's just been beat up, and we're definitely trading against the trend here. But at some point, there is a bump. So, you know, that always happens. We could get a little bit of a squish down here off open. So we'll wait to see for that for Palantir. And other than that, man, Micron, Coinbase, Nvidia, Micron a low bid as well for me at 140. So let's see if that all fills in, and then we'll deal with those trades when they come through.
And we got the Monday morning. I heard someone say it's holiday short, and it ain't holiday short. It's a full week. It'll be a good one.
Yep.
But in 3, 2, and 1, ring it, Adara.
All right, yeah, no short week. Okay, I'm not here Friday, of course, but okay, here we go. Amazon 189. Micron trying to come in a little bit. Let's see if that sell imbalance did anything to Nvidia. Yes, it does, man. There it goes, taking through 123 right now. So there goes Nvidia to the downside. So kind of as expected. Wow, okay, really as expected now. I mean, this was the #1 look here for the day for us, but yeah, well beat up now. Nvidia off the open. Let it settle down a little bit would be my advice here before I just get right into it. But anyways, there's 123 coming through for Nvidia. Tesla 185.
Yeah, Tesla looking strong. Google just tried to make that fresh high break. Resistance for now on Alphabet. Let's see if it can hold above that 180 level. 181 is what it needs to take out for a clean breakout trade. We are in Mara off that 1865. Affirm was the other name. We're looking to break it out if it can take 32. It's not really moving at all. So not a heck of a lot going on yet for Affirm. It's Tesla, which is, yeah, now Tesla's really starting to run. Might just be one of those, hey, wait for the first available dip kind of moments for Tesla. Do not want to be chasing this name. Micron, 141
Tesla.
even it bounced off of. So 40s, no, but 141 even, it just bounced. Again, just sort of scanning these names until we get something which is coming into play. Nvidia, that's a pretty tight range there for Nvidia, not really moving a heck of a lot. And then Mara, just right in the pocket. It actually just tagged the pre-market high. So I grab more at 55. My out is above 65. We'll take some out in front of 40s first. Firm is moving, but it hasn't broken 32 yet. There's Simon.
All right, here comes Nvidia nicely back to the upside here. So we want to try to fade some kind of pop. So here comes. We were going to wait for 124.50, but we'll get into it now against 124.50 basically, and see if we can get out of this if it does continue to rip up. Let's take a little bit more. I don't mind this trade. So here against 124.50, if it breaks through 124.50, then let's get out and wait for that 128. So I feel like that's going to be a play for us here. It's getting going, and this is fine. This is kind of like, you know, you can't get short on pops if you don't fade them. So we're going to have to wait to see right now to see what winds up happening. We are short now a decent amount at 123.85. So if we can get something like 20, 30 cents, we could do that. That's where VWAP is at 50s. So a nice little pullback for Nvidia is what I'm expecting right now. Here it is, there it is, and there it goes. A nice little, yes, sir, okay. Hey. I mean, here we go. 40 cents right now in the money for Nvidia. Let's see if it continues to work.
Yeah, good look over there. And Mara made that first move at the open. No fill. Okay, good. Made that first move off the open. We did grab it. It took it out. I was trying to get 40s on the bid. It got right into 43. Took that one like 2 cents away from my bid, and then took out the high. We did get wicked out and jump back in when we got wicked, putting it at the local top. So I'm willing to take a couple of shots at this particular level, but we do want to get back over to Adara at the desk. Also, Micron wants 141 instead of that 140 level. Looks like we might have to catch a different dip buy in Micron Adara.
One catalyst here that might explain that move up in Tesla TSLA, this initially started circulating around, it looks like just after 9 a.m. This was circulating even further right before the open here. UBS apparently forecasting Tesla Q2 deliveries, about a 9% increase in a quarter-over-quarter basis, so they would be dropping 10% in a year-over-year basis. So they're seeing roughly 420,000 vehicles delivered for Q2 2024. So just some notes here with regards to Tesla forecast that could explain that TSLA move up here, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's way stronger than anticipated. Google trying to retake that 180 level. Looks like it just did. So if you're looking for the dip buy in Alphabet, that's kind of come and gone already. you're not really getting anything underneath pre-market lows, so we're just gonna have to play off the pre-market low. Forget about 178 or anything like that. So this 180 level looks pretty good. 180.40 is an all-time high, and you are resisting that, at least for now. But if you break it out that top, I wanna be in it by the time it gets there. So we're into the long for the first time on Alphabet, and where's Nvidia? No, still in the pocket there for Nvidia. AMD, we thought there'd be a good short opportunity in AMD, and it's starting to come up. Remember what I said to myself. Neil, wait for 160. If it's not failing through the bottom and you're shorting those bottoms, then wait for 163. So we've got to be patient when it comes to AMD.
Yeah, we are. We just missed actually our. Whoa! That's funny that you mentioned that. I just couldn't find my cursor there for a minute.
Right?
Okay.
It was
yeah,
weird.
I don't know. That was weird that time. All right, we just missed that, man. We were waiting at 123.50. You know what it went to? 124.40. So we'll take. Whoops. Didn't mean to put a bid there, but we just took a little piece out there at 124. Okay, here comes back up. We are still at 124.50, so hopefully that will be the thing that fills us up. I want to be pretty patient and then waiting for that 125 to break. That's 124.50, the 200 period. It looks like we had just missed it. That's too bad. We might have just missed it again. All right, you know what? Where am I there? 124.50. Okay, I'm still there. I'm going to put one at like 124.25, just a little piece again to see if we can get some there. That's too bad because we were right there. You know how there it is, 45s. So we miss it by 5 cents, and then the tank just comes through right now. So all right, there it goes, man. It's obviously a nice move back in here for Nvidia, and we've got a decent amount of shares. So let's get some more bids out right now. We're short at 93. There it is. There's the fill at 60. Okay, I mean now we're really rocking here. So far so good with this trade on Nvidia, continuing to go lower. Oh man, we just missed that reload. That could have been a big one. Still pretty decent. What's up, Abe?
Small cap on watch here. Revelation Biosciences, REVB. This one basically high of days here, up about 72%. Announced that its phase 1 study of its Gemini treatment has met the required endpoint. So good look here for REVB. Worth noting as well, market cap of around $3.45 million. Float of around 1.63 shares. So pretty small float, guys.
Yeah, Rev B I've traded before, but I'm not terribly interested in it. I know a firm is making that move. I'll get there in a quick second, but the 19 level is coming in on Mara. I'm going to get to Rivian when it gets to $10 because we talked about that last week, and I am liking a 10 bid there, but just not yet. So pre-market high already gone, waiting for the next level on Mara. It's that 19, not going to play inside of the range. I want a test of 19 before we jump back into that. And then Rivian in here, it bounced off 10 quarters and looks like it's going absolutely ramshot to the upside alongside of Tesla. Not something I particularly want to chase, but I only want longs in front of the 10. So we'll have to look for some kind of a dip buy in Rivian. Micron's still not giving any fills. Yeah, Micron, we're just really going to have to adjust if we want this long. You know, Micron's not giving anything.
Yeah, noticing that.
It just bounced off 141 to 142. And then it just made a bounce off 141.5 as well. So it's still trending down, which leads me to say be patient, Neil. But there's only so much patience that I'm going to be able to have with this name before we have to try to look for like a VWAP or something. But I'm still bidding 140. We'll wait for it when it gets there. Mara did not get to 19. So it looks like some weakness underneath the 19 level. We'll get back into that short as long as 19 isn't breached.
All right, we just got reloaded again here on Nvidia. Like, I don't know, it still seems like it's pretty strong. I mean, look at the market pulling back into here right now. So I don't know. We keep on reloading. I mean, it's a huge stock for me. It's a big one. It's just a matter of, you know, having to get out and not trying to be too greedy here and make sure that we do take profits. So I'm like scattered all over here with bids everywhere and offers everywhere. So let me just clean a bit up here. Our bidding, we're now bidding 58s. Tesla keeps going. Eh? Okay, I can look somewhere. I mean, I can look at Tesla too, but here as a trader, we're just going to try to find, for me, positions where, you know, we want to sit in them for a minute to see if they do work out. This Nvidia seems like it's pretty strong, so maybe we'll wait up on that one.
There goes AMD.
Upside probably?
Oh, heck no for AMD.
Okay, good.
AMD,
Well,
remember saying AMD just wait for 163 unless it's breaking down? Well, it broke down. So now you're underneath support. You have room to 158 here. I'm on the offer in front of the pre-market lows on the way back up. Tried to grab it on the way down. We haven't gotten it yet. The NASDAQ does not break 20,000 either. So you did have a lower high get put in as the market's trying to go to the upside. But once again, AMD showing some signs of weakness relative to the overall market. We're going to jump into this short back underneath the pre-market lows as AMD is definitely headed down. And sometimes this happens. AMD just doesn't care what's happening in the overall market. It just wants to go its own way. Give me a fill in the 20s.
We've seen so many
That's
different.
the second time it just went right to my order and I don't get the fill. That happened over there on Mara as well. Adara has something for us.
Amidst a lot of weakness in Bitcoin and some of these miners, HUT is looking pretty strong here. HUT 8 dropping a little bit, still up about 2 2/3%. This one announcing a $150 million investment from Coatue, basically to help them partner for their next generation AI infrastructure platform. They also received a price target increase to $15 from Needham. So good look for HUT 8 as we have some weakness in some of the other Bitcoin related names, guys.
Like, we keep on putting damage on the board here, but then, like, I can't get... Okay, here we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All we had to do was talk about it. There it is. Oh, I don't have my stream deck up. That's okay, but there it goes. Nice little move to the downside. We just got that 60 fill there on Nvidia. We got, 70s. We did not get... We're bidding 58s. So we got to get a little bit more shares now because we just got some out down there. So let's see if we can reload just a little bit more. Come on, bring it down here. Hopefully we'll be able to now for Nvidia. But again, it's not really dropping considering what the market's doing. And then I am actually nervous when AMD makes such a strong move and then Nvidia doesn't. We've seen that before, like where there'll be a transfer of sort of power. Like all of a sudden Nvidia will be strong and AMD won't. And then AMD will be strong. And then I'll be like, oh, people are buying up the weak one and selling the strong one. And it's just like back and forth with that. So let's just stay with what we want to do. I don't want to look at too much of AMD here, but we are short Nvidia, and here it comes into the 70s.
Both falling now.
Yeah, good. Well, yeah, I mean, Nvidia is going to be the big trade for me here. So we only have one trade on all day, Nvidia. So, and it's been a short. So we've got this a whole bunch of times. See, and just keeps on bouncing off this level though. All right, I'm going to bid out some more at 70 and then just cancel my 58s and see if we get a drop down. And now it's going to fill probably. Here it goes. Yep, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Okay, good. So nice little move there. I know Neil's short this one. We've got a big position here, anyways, for Nvidia. Let's even get bigger.
Yeah, just gonna, whoa, no. Okay, I just got the breakout on Affirm as AMD. I just double bid it, and we're gonna end up getting out at that first 50-cent move. But Affirm broke the 32 level. I am long. I'm looking to scalp some off into 32.5, and then buy the first available dip. We do want to still be short AMD, but I just got double bid right here when it broke that pre-market low. We're gonna jump right back in on the first available pop. I want to still be short this name. So Affirm, we got that 32 break. It's already tracking toward the quarter. As the market's going down, this at least seems to want to go up. Dara again.
Watch out for BZFD here, guys. BuzzFeed, this one getting a nice little volume spike circulating here on X, this Axios report saying that Vivek Ramaswamy, who had previously taken a stake in the company, has now increased his stake to 8.9% and did meet with the BuzzFeed CEO last week to discuss his position in the company. So Vivek Ramaswamy related news sending BZFD to the upside with volume, guys.
Right. I just said to Sharif, we're finally getting better. All right, so there it goes, man. We held on for that Nvidia and it just came right in, man. We just got $1 on that one. It came into 123. We got 123.05 actually. So we got a couple dollars, a couple different spots right into the close. So, the pre-market low here, just where we opened up. So that was a good level. I mean, obviously we did squash down to 122.50 off the open. So we do know that that does have the pedigree to do exactly that. So, I mean, honestly, this has been, again, 1 for 1, and we talked about one good trade and real trading and all that kind of stuff. Shout out to our sponsor, Real Trading. This is the kind of trade for me that's all day. Like if we can focus and load up and put on some shares and give you guys an opportunity to understand some of the reasonings with that, it's been a good one. And there it comes in. Let's go. Like I don't have any more bids on this name. Well, that's probably a lie. Let me see. No, I do not. So we'll have to get some bids here because if we break this 123, I'm going to put something at like 123.85 or so, 122.85. Okay, there, okay. All right, now we're $1.50 on the money on the biggest position. I've only had one trade today. So one trade, $1.50. Let's just see if it can continue to go lower. So 1 for 1, and it's a big one here today. We can go to the beach now, but we have a show.
Well, the beach is probably going to be a little bit lame, I think, after all the rain that we just had this weekend. But like,
you know what? Toronto didn't get that much rain as much as
that's what smoked.
No, man, I golfed on Saturday. We played baseball Saturday and Sunday. I know.
It rained.
We were
like
lucky.
I
know.
Anyways, look, I'm a little bit outside of the city. I almost said something else there. You guys, well, I caught myself, but it rained. Let's just leave it at that. But the trade's heating things up. Hopefully, Look, the market's dropping right now. I took another leg out of Affirm for that reason. It got to 32.5.
Wow.
And now starting to pull back in there. So if we can dip off VWAP, we'll take that opportunity. But the breakout, certainly not going to follow the market forever. Let's be real. I don't think this one has a chance to follow the market, to go to the upside forever while this market is absolutely tanking. AMD, I jammed out and then went right back on the offer exactly where we were before. I have not gotten the fills above the 159 yet, but as long as we consolidate under there, we still want to look for the shorts. Micron is now coming into 140, so we said be patient. Well, patience is a virtue. If you went long anywhere else, you might have had some bounce opportunities, but I think it's better off waiting for the actual price at that 140 level. So back into some AMD. Meta is, we talked about Meta being relatively strong. Meta is up 2%. And holding really, really nicely. But it's a firm I got to worry about for the long. That's the only one that I am in currently, and it's trying to bounce off VWAP here.
All right, we just got an absolutely huge move on Nvidia. And again, this was, the #1 name here. I'm just tweeting it out, stocks, trading, stuff like that. So we can go over this again, not trading. All right, there it is right there. So, all right, yeah. Keep it going with the best names here. I'm actually going to cancel everything else, and I'll look at other things in a couple minutes once we settle down with NVIDIA. I'm just kind of sad that we didn't get that 124.50 because then it would really be some kind of a day, but it still is a great one, and let's go over to Adair quickly.
Nine Micro Aljo here, MLGO. This is another small cap on the move today. Currently halted, up about 58.5% and at high of days. This one initially got some attention last week, trading higher. Has a float of about 3 million shares. MLGO on watch, guys.
Man, we just said wow, because we got those $2 action happening right now for us. So there goes NVIDIA, and we always talk about this, man. It just takes this. Here's the sticky note. It's one stock. I'm not even looking at Apple, at Micron, at Palantir, or at Coinbase. I'm not even looking. I haven't even looked there because right now we have NVIDIA. It's doing exactly what we thought it would do. And someone even asked me in the chat on the sticky note, and it was, what does fade the pops mean? And I talked about that before we went on air. This is this is fading the pops. This is exactly what we wrote down here on the note that we would try to do today with NVIDIA, that we were feeling bearish today, right? And so we had talked about our plan here, closes near the low. Let's try to fade the pops. Obviously, we didn't get to 128. We talked about that not being possible off the open. So we're going to wait to see if it can get back up there now as we only hold about 20% of this trade. I mean, look at those bottoms that we just got. Like we got 122.48. So, I mean, that's $1.78 or something like that on the final piece there. So we still have some left. We'll see about reloading it maybe now, but still pretty early, man. It's only 9:47, so nice move back up to 123.50 right there.
123.50.
Yeah.
Like, I was joking. I wasn't joking. 117. I'll be on the bid at 117 of Nvidia. That's that post-split low, and the way it's trending down, I think we have a decent chance to see that this week. So it's just after the split. It bounced that morning. You guys know, if you pull up a chart, you guys know it. I like VWAP. So we bought VWAP on Affirm. It did hold. It didn't hold originally, but we get wicked out. I just jumped right back in the trade, so it's trending back up. I just took some out 32s. The high is 32.46. I think if we see that again, I want to jump right back out at that top while holding the trend. This at least is strong, but the market is still down and looking relatively weak, and I want to respect that for the time being. I jumped back into AMD, but it ran VWAP. This happened on Friday as well. Sorry, check that. I wasn't here on Friday. This happened on Thursday as well, I should say, on AMD, where it breaks VWAP. I jump out, get back in on the way back down. It costs you about 10 cents, but you can still get back in the trade. 159 just took it out like last time. 158.5 is the current low. So still going to be looking for some shorts on AMD. Micron, we'll see if we get that 140. You know what? I'm not going to sit on the bid. I like that stink bid dip buy if you get it right away. When you get it closer to 10 o'clock and you're trending down, just kind of catching that fill isn't always the way to go. So we're looking long still on Affirm, but I have some caution because the market is looking relatively heavy and AMD continuing to work into that downside. Definitely Meta is relatively, it's got a lot of strength in it, but I'm not chasing this at the high of the day when the market's at the low. I think that's way too far gone in this moment.
Now NVIDIA's $2 in the money. Oh, man. Okay. I'm bidding in the 20s here, like 21. So here we go, 122.21. See if we, I mean, I can't believe we're actually getting this. Like I hope everyone's having a good time. And I hope everyone's following. Watch at Trader TV. Sean sticking away at the watch list on tradertv.live. We've got all that stuff popping off again here for you. But I mean, you guys can clearly, we have one trade on, you know, and that's enough. So we're going to wait to see if we can get some more actionable trades here. But so far, so good, man. It does. Oh man, Nvidia, what is going on? Enter the gates, my friend, because it has happened right in front of everybody's face right now. As there goes Nvidia, just pumping to the downside, down, 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 down. So yeah, this has been a good one. This is definitely not ruining the tour. This is extending the tour today. 121.60, 121.50 coming into play. You know what? Can we get it, Neil? Can we get $3 on this one? Travolta's asking what exactly is happening. Why are we doing this every day here? There it comes down to the downside again. 250, 260, 270. I mean, a big trade alert. We have one trade on. I love being focused here, looking at the best names I possibly can. And look, does it cost me opportunities? Yes. Yes, it does. Who knows? Who would have thought the market's doing this and Palantir would be doing this? Remember what I said Katina Capital was close to doing? How about upgrading it? I mean, right here, Palantir, long, 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 all day. Look at this, man. Just keeps on going to the upside. The one long that we have on here, nicely done for shareholders of Palantir there today. Fortunately, we did not buy that dip. I'm bidding 23.15. It only got down to 23.30 before it's still going straight up. Now the question remains, though. Forget about what's happened in the past. It's what's going to happen in the future. That's what we care about for trading. And then right here, $24. We talked about a possible break for this. It's just been such a good move to the upside right now. If you play the break, you could, see what's happening right now. You could get that huge wick, breaks through, and then pulls back. So I feel like let's see it break through, and then if we can get some longs back around 23.80 on a potential pull back in right now. But maybe we'll just sit here and take $3. But hey, I mean, if Nvidia wants to keep doing what it's doing, man, we're completely fine sitting in this trade and waiting for it to continue to go lower because we're already out of it. I mean, we don't have too much left. We have about 15% only. So we'll see if it can continue to go down. But this is what, that's right, Jay Lee. This is when you kick yourself for covering so early. But you know what? At the end of the day, you have to look down at the numbers and be pleased with the numbers that you're putting up. Or if you're not, change your ways. And I mean, that's exactly what we've done over here. The last little while has changed. And I hope you guys can all see that. I mean, it's 9:51. We have one trade on. I mean, that's, you guys are always like, oh, how many trades does this guy have on today? And today one. And it's a trophy day. So we'll hold it. We'll see what happens. And if Nvidia continues to make this move up, we can cover. But for now, 15% left. Let's wait, man. GameStop is the one that's motoring.
Yeah, GameStop probably doing what I think everyone hoped that DJT was going to do today. So, put some respect in. I'll get there in a quick second. But I didn't want to interrupt. But I always do what works for you. And I think that's one of the best things that I hear Sean constantly say. Like, stick to the strategy that works. And for this on AMD, it gets to that big wick bottom from last week, and I'm taking it out if it bounces off that level. Take the profit, go back to if it bounces off VWAP, in this case bounces down off VWAP, we'll go for a reload. And then back over to Affirm. It's trying to hold VWAP here, but another lower high. We took profit at 30.20. If this doesn't hold on to 65s, I think we just jump out of that trade and accept that maybe the market could be a little bit weak to try to hold on to. Yeah, GameStop is flying. And it's starting to break out and continuing to break out. I'm not chasing this move. It's a little bit early in the day to start buying highs on GME, but I don't mind jumping into some kind of a VWAP trade if it wants to present that a little bit later, and only because we haven't said anything about DJT. Nice bounce off 29. Congratulations if you had it. We talked about opportunity cost. 29 was the level I would have looked for, but look when that happened, right at 9:30. So the chances of getting, you had to be on that bid, you had to be locked and loaded right away to grab it, and now it's at $31. Another stock, there's just no chance that I want to chase DJT up here 13%. It had to be a dip buy. It was a dip buy or bust as far as I'm concerned. So with the market trying to bounce in here, it will be AMD that I'm looking for the reload off of VWAP. And if we get this fail at VWAP again, I'd like to see it maybe punch through and then get it on the way back down, because that's another hammer wick bottom that it's put in. So a little bit of strength coming into the stock. If it fails VWAP one more time, we'll go for the reload again. Apple, I've seen a lot of people talk about that one. I don't have Apple up. I haven't looked at it outside of doing some levels in the pre-market, but AMD's at the reload spot.
Yeah, we knew we wanted Apple long, but again, we haven't looked there yet either. I'm looking at Palantir right now. I mean, it looks like it does want to break through. So we do have it buy to go long if it does break through that level. So let's wait to see if we can get some love on a breakthrough 24. So that should hit in, or we'll try to go long here around 2380. We talked about a possible pullback, right? So if that does come through, then good for that, and we'll see if we can take advantage of it. But for right now, it is trying to pull just a little bit. So we'll go back over to here. If and when that does go through, you'll see me putting some, some respect on that name, and that's going to be Palantir if and when that does come through. All right, so here's a nice move, like Neil mentioned there. Of course, we're going to be looking at some of the similar names as they're the ones moving around. So again, I don't really, this is where we've already put on a big share size. We've already taken some out here on Nvidia. So it's just like, do I really want to reload here and make sure that we are 100% right? Like the market's back up to VWAP. That could be a good short, 123.50, and then we just change our outs to 123.50. Let me just cancel my current one there, and just to see if we liked it. I still like that 124.50 area for Nvidia, but I could see why we might like what we're doing right now. 124, yeah. I mean, okay, 123.50. If it can get back up there, let's put on a little bit more for Nvidia. Not try to give everything back, obviously, if this doesn't work out. But 123.50 should be good back to 124. That's VWAP at 123.50. And then 120, I mean, it's a little bit lower than that where VWAP is, but 123.50. And then 124, 124.50. Yeah, just anyways, as I'm just trying to go through stuff that I'm looking at. Yeah, there goes Micron now. I canceled Micron. 123.50 offer, long story short, that's where I'm going to put it at.
Well, if you let Micron kind of just fall into the 140. You saw I canceled my bid on Micron.
That 140.
Instead of letting it fill me on the way to the downside, I kind of played the other direction when the market was trending down, which is to look for the bounce and then try and catch it on the way back up. It's the conservative route. Now you're going to see it start to go into VWAP. So, no, we can still be patient with it. It's still trend down, even though it's up 1%. And if it's trend down, you can wait for that 140 to come back in. Amazon failed the high break, coming back. It's Apple and Tesla that look. We talked about Meta already. It's Apple and Tesla holding these breaks. So 208 on Apple, but Tesla was one that was actually part of the plan here today, and it's about to hit VWAP as we speak. So 187 on Tesla is currently VWAP. If it wants to bounce one more time in here, I'll look for that long. The NASDAQ is tracking back. I mean, off of the lows, I should say. We're still down like 0.25% here on the NASDAQ. But Tesla coming back into VWAP for a bid of a bid. And come on, hold that 187. It's still a heavy offer right now, so I'm not really hitting that buy. I want to see the buyers step up here, and you're not getting any of that yet here on Tesla.
Yeah, I was a little bit silly with that Micron. I mean, we wrote down 140 and I pulled it because I was only looking at Nvidia, and that's the problem. Sometimes we talk about that when you look at different names and you miss out on them, right? So Palantir still not doing much. This was another name that we missed out on. We had just sort of talked about that. Amazon trying to take out all-time highs of 191. What was it, 191.40, something like that on Amazon was the all-time high. Come on, let's switch over charts into that. We got pretty close to that right there, 190.40. It was 191.70, checks notes. 191.70 all-time high there for Amazon came just last month. So you could watch out for that again coming in. But nice little bump back up. We're still red on Amazon here today. So if the market can't get going, this is, again, so many of these major cap tech names that are right in near close enough to VWAP. So you could see a little bit of a fade happening. The big name, of course, for us today on the long side that I've seen anyways, Apple started to go nicely up here near day's high. So this could be a name, again, if it does come back into 208 or so, a good little long there. I wrote down as the trade of the week, Apple down here near 202. So if that can get going, I think that that's a buy for sure. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye on Media Alpha here, MAX. This one dropping down about 5% right now. Wolfpack Research is doing a short report saying that their investigation reveals they believe that Media Alpha is participating in consumer fraud. So MAX to the downside, guys.
Max.
MAX.
Now Tesla's already breaking the highs. So I'm going to leave the bid. We waited for buyers off 187. I'm just going to leave the bid in there and see if we can get picked up again. It's traveled this path like several times in here. I still think there's a chance we could get it. Apple could end up being the breakout that I think everybody wants. AFRM, we're still in the long in AFRM as it's making the bounce off VWAP now. So there we go. I talked about the concept before, but I think you guys get it. When your stock is a 3-minute chart, when the stock is on the way back down, a lot of times I'll just like the price and bid it. I find it works out a little bit better if I wait for the bottom to get put in, see it actually hold VWAP, which sometimes is like a wick underneath it, and then see if it can continue that trend. The trend for me is from the first dip, that's 50s and a higher low at 60s and a higher low at 65, and now a higher low at 75. As long as the firm holds on to this trend, I want to be buying dips out in front of it. So I put the trend line in after right around 10 o'clock. If it's making a trend. If it's not, you don't have to be in it at all. What else we got going on? Apple breaking highs. Tesla, we still like longs on Tesla, and it's pulling back into VWAP. So we're sitting out in front of 187. Looks like we're going to get it now. Adara again. Oh, it's happening now.
It's already 10 a.m. Pretty interesting morning here. Nice pop up for the SPY off of the open. Slightly higher than the NASDAQ, which is slightly red on the day right now. Nvidia continuing to be weaker here. This is third straight day to the downside look set for that. ARM trade first day on the NASDAQ 100. Micron on watch ahead of its earnings. So lots of semiconductors still on watch, so some of them a little bit weaker here. Other names to keep an eye on include DJT. This is Trump Media and Technology Group. This one near high of days right now, up 14%, announcing on Friday that they had $69.4 million in initial proceeds from exercising warrants. So nice look for DJT. Tesla on watch here as well. This one up about 2.5%. This UBS forecast coming out saying that they see 420,000 deliveries for Q2 2024. Would be a slight decrease in a year-over-year basis, but it'd be a quarterly increase. So UBS Tesla delivery forecast. And last but not least here, Apple. This one up about 0.6%. They got a price target increase from Ilias Research, and they're also on watch after facing this EU antitrust probe from the DMA. So lots of things to keep an eye on here, guys.
Oh, the EU antitrust. It's just, they always try to keep themselves busy. You know how it goes. But it's always the same thing. Every single big cap tech name is under their crosshairs. The fine gets paid, and then they move on to the next one. Oh, there goes AMD through VWAP. So we had it waiting for the wick, came back underneath. We shorted it, broke that high. We'll jump out of the trade. I'm not holding it from one level to the next. If it wants to break out VWAP here, I think 161 is the next level into the upside. As, wow, Apple is really starting to fly. And Tesla, come on, Tesla. No, still not getting VWAP on that name, so we're trying to be patient, preaching some patience with this name. But man, this sucker is strong off that bid. I mean, I'm looking up at Apple while I'm showing you Tesla. Yeah. It's Apple. Apple, this sucker is strong. There's one red candle since it broke past VWAP, and even then, that's a 3-minute chart. That was still a pretty big hammer candle. It wicked the bottom and then went higher. That's even a bullish red candle, if you even want to call it that. So I think you got to buy dips in this. The only thing we recently bought dips on in this market strength was AFRM off of VWAP, so that's continuing to hold trend. But I've had to cover every time in these low 32s because it's starting to run out of steam. The problem with AFRM, and this has done this before, is you get those early gap ups. It goes pretty far, and then it stops running with the market. If it gives that trend up, a lot of times it falls all the way back. So it's tight stops on the trend underneath 31.75. I'm getting out. I will go over this MLGO stock. It's going absolutely ham. I'm expecting halts out of this, and yet somehow there haven't been any. So it's holding a good trend, but its spread has opened up several times when I've been pulling it up. Sorry, it had one halt, but the spread opens up pretty quickly here. So if it does dip into VWAP, I think you want a consolidation and not just catch the falling knife. For a $6 stock doing 25 million shares, it almost never has a 1 or 2 cent spread.
So we got short there on Nvidia at 50. We got some out at 25. Took 25 cents right there quickly. We still obviously are waiting for more. And then it came into 123, and then we didn't bid it. So we have a bid there now. And remember, if this gets going, man, we want to get out. So 124 break. We're going to get out of this one. We do not need to be sitting in anything. And we do have a new trade alert finally. So we do have our second trade on the board right now. Let's wait to see now what happens with Palantir. So there's the break. We talked about it going long at 23. The lowest it goes was 23.30 right there off open. And now it's trying to go. And I'm just going to get out if it breaks through 90 again to the upside. It doesn't look like it even really wants to go now as the market is trying to slow down just a little bit, it seems like, right now. But hey, 20,000 on watch now again for the NQs. By the way, there it is. What a successful reload that was. We just reloaded Nvidia, took another 50 cents. So right now, guys, I'm in stack mode. So what that means is we've already made the big play, this one. We'll look for others. I mean, if they set up, I mean, I got, again, notionally probably the second big position here in Palantir with this trade. But, I'm only trying to give this one 10 cents. So if there we go, we'll get some 06s out. Now hopefully it can go back up to the upside. Right there, also waiting at 08. Come on, let's go. We're long at 01s here, 01 change. So it's rounded up to 2s, which is fine. So let's get another piece out here at 08, and then maybe we can rip up. The one thing about this is we are noticing that the 200 period and the 50 period is at 24.30s. So something like that would be pretty good if we're able to get out in and around the 30s, maybe the high 20s, something like that. As look, can't even go through 7s right now. Let's go. It's just tried and failed right there. Like, look at the amount of shares here on reserve here for 07. So I'm going to take some 07s right there, cancel my 08. So there it is. We take some 07s as it had a problem. Now it blasts through, so that's good. Let's go, man. Here comes 08 again for us now on Palantir. So getting into that 1-to-1 now, we are out of 20% of it. So let's keep going for Palantir. Put another offer in and around 10, and we'll see if we can get this back up to the upside. But man, what a great day it's been here today. 2 for 2. And all bangers, man, all bangers. This Palantir one's been good. Nvidia's been huge. And let's just keep that story rolling. 124, we're out of Nvidia. We ain't giving anything back on this one, guys.
Yeah, that's the plan. You never want to give anything back, but you always got to put something new on to try to take something again. So as long as the trend is favoring your trade, I think you want to be reloading it. So trend down Nvidia, trend up Apple. AFRM just bounced off VWAP here. I took some out when it broke 32. That 32.5 has been a problem. So if it fails again at 32.5, I'm jumping out of that trade and then working something again off of VWAP. We talked a little bit about GameStop, but I do want to go over to a new name. That's going to be ARM. ARM, generally speaking, I never trade ARM off the open because it's not the most liquid name. I always let it set up, and if it sets up, I've already paid for the locates here. High of the day is exactly the same as Friday's afternoon support at 158, so it's shown me a level now that if it can't bust through, I want to look to fade on ARM. It's a strong stock in a general sense, but the pullback is kind of like Nvidia's the last couple of sessions, I should say, ending the week off relatively weak. So 158 I like on ARM. Just got to let it get in there. And then we'll try to get the short. You have to pay for locates at real trading, but they are like pennies per share. So essentially nothing. Finally get VWAP here on Tesla, 187.22, because that just happens to be where it bounced. 188 half is this local top out here. It hasn't been able to break that just yet. So let's see if Tesla can join the party back into the upside with the rest of these names. But I affirm I do want that long if we get it off VWAP, but it has to hold the trend line. So I've reloaded it a couple of times. If it can't hold, like Apple right here, so Tesla right here, if it doesn't bounce off this 187, I'm only giving it underneath the quarters. And I want the same thing on Affirm. As long as it holds, we're in it. But if it can't, you just got to jump out.
Yeah. Guys, honestly, I don't know. So we're 2 for 2, and they're big. Like this Palantir trade breaking through 24. I mean, we take some 12s there. We get some 10s as well. We are waiting for 13s. I'm just trying to like layer it up. And then we are out of, actually we're out of right now about 35% of it. Let's just wait. Let's wait for a little bit more on this one. That is 20, that's 24 30s, 24 20s. I mean, we're getting into that level right now. So we're getting pretty close right here. I mean, this is the benefit of using more shares again. And like we talk about it, you got to look at what's been happening and then try to figure out the best way to trade. So for me, it's trying to hit more shares and being accurate as much as we possibly can. And I mean, I think we're doing that 2 for 2 here, and explain to you, that we were, going to go on these trades. So I think if you guys are looking for like definitive trades and things like that, that's where I'm getting, in my opinion, better at doing those kind of things. So let's just see. When they don't work, they don't work. You got to have stops. but when they do work, you definitely want to let some of these start to fly in your favor again. So let's see what happens now and go to the desk with Adira.
Some comments coming here from President Xi in China, just to be aware of, saying that, as reported by Reuters, here, President Xi saying that China is going to be stepping up its R&D here in certain areas, including circuits, industrial motherboards, a lot of tech-related spaces. Also saying that China will be accelerating its scientific tech innovations in fields including information technology and AI. So just be aware of some AI innovations and R&D, tech R&D increases, as reported by Reuters. President Xi looking to increase in China, guys.
Yeah, he's looking to increase that over there. All right. Yeah, guys, look, I'm not going to have too much to say. I mean, I'll look at the chat to see if there's anything else going on. We've already sort of made our bed here today. It's a monster open for me. And I just hope that everyone's enjoying the show. I'll look at the chat for some more names. We did miss Micron at the bottom. That could have been our 3 for 3 opportunity there, but again, we just weren't looking at it, but we were writing it down. So if you are a member of Sticky Note Nation, you would notice here that we had Micron 140, but just did not notice it, first of all, until Neil brought it up and it was already at 140.70. So we definitely missed that opportunity there. I'll say my bad, but honestly, there's like Palantir right here. We just broke. We gave this one, we as this was breaking 24, we said our stop was 10 cents lower. So it's now 2 to 1. So that's going to be a good trade no matter how many shares you have on that one. And then here comes Nvidia, man. We're just letting this thing climb up. If this takes 124, take 124, man. You know how much we're going to give back here? About 4% or so of what we've made. So that's completely fine. And we've already gotten out of more than half of this on the way back through. So this last reload will probably be about a flat trade. We could take this again against 124, but with the market up here, 20,000, we're already in this Palantir trade. Let's just see what winds up happening with Nvidia. I mean, let's put on a little bit more then, because we just turned off of that. Now that we saw that, let's put something off in the 70s and 80s. And if it still breaks 124, we want to get out. But we'll try to go back in here and see what happens.
Yeah, speaking of getting back in, the plan will be the same thing on AFRM. I did say if it gets up to that top and you see the same nonsense that it did before, which is get to about 32.30 off of 30. The bounce is not 32 even. The bounce at VWAP is underneath 32. So you're really getting longs in the 80 to 90 range, and then you're getting like a 30 to 40 cent move to the upside on a $30 stock. So it's giving you like a 1% bounce, but it's rejecting underneath. So as long as that happens, it's going to jump right back into the well off of VWAP every single chance that we do get. Apple seems to want to only break highs, unfortunately. That just continues to run. Tesla, we went for the dip, but it did not hold on to support, so we got out of it. I would have hunted back for like 185, but that's, to me, I'm always going to have a stop, but the way I look at it, I'm not going to get into this off 185 at 186. It needs to trade a little bit tighter into the 186 level or the 185 level to try to catch a bit of a dip there on Tesla. It's still trending into the upside, but I don't like that big reversal that you just put in there. Whereas AFRM, which is a strong stock like Apple is holding the trend line pretty successfully. So jumping back into this until it breaks trend is going to make a heck of a lot of sense for me. I said ARM would be the next target in terms of a setup, but it just didn't. By the time I see it getting up here, it's set to trade up. It comes back up to the top. It gets to 157. I'm looking 158. Didn't really tick too much above it. So I'm not chasing ARM, but I do like when ARM is weak like this relative to the market to look for a VWAP trade as well. So this could start to put in a bit of a VWAP low, down 3.5% when the market is flat, when Nvidia is 2.5%. And Nvidia is above VWAP as well, so I think this is a relatively weak name. Unlike that AMD, which was a good short early and then broke VWAP itself and could still be trending to the upside. That's why I move. If a stock that I like short is showing me a bullish trend and it's above the levels I want to short, then I'm not shorting that stock. I'm looking for a better opportunity.
All right, and in continuing with the good vibes and the good feels around here, we'll go some clap. We'll go fire up a hot dog cannon because I just looked. About half the traders here on the floor today are positive, and that's fantastic. So I want to say congratulations to everybody there today for that. So that's really good. We don't, often we talk about how hard it is to be a positive trader, and you could sort of hopefully be able to see that every day, what we're trying to show you guys, sort of how we're trading and things like that. But much like what you see, half of the floor. So that's really positive. So shout out to Real Trading right there. You guys can join at realtrading.com. All right, so look at this, man. We started getting out. Like, we got some out 11s, 12s. Palantir just takes a little bit of a dump in right here into these levels. The stop is still in if it breaks through 90. I think I'll try. I mean, I don't know. I don't like when things retrace like this, obviously. Let's put a bid at 95 just to, okay, well, here's 95. I was like, maybe it doesn't get to 95. All right, well, maybe it doesn't. Let's put a bid here at 96 then and see if we can capture some more. There it is, and maybe now we'll get those 95. So here we go. Let's see what happens now to the upside for this move on Palantir. If it breaks back, which it looks like it wants to, breaks below 23.90, we are out of this trade. So that's the trade for me there on Palantir. We are out of, what? Okay, that just fell back in for us. Again, this is why we stay the course with what we are doing. I mean, there's Nvidia. You know, I second-guessed getting more up there. Then it just fell back in. Remember we said, like, we don't have a huge position, but we'll just continue to trade it. All of a sudden, boom, this thing drops $1 right back into 123. So, just when things work out, it feels pretty good. Nvidia, with the rhetoric that it was going to be a downside day. We talked about being bearish today. We picked on a name that's probably the most bearish as far as, big cap, unless Meta's down more than 3 or 4%. I'm not sure.
Meta's strong.
Meta's strong. Okay, so there you go. Okay, Palantir. Here we go. Man, this has been a day. I just hope everyone's enjoying the show. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, check the podcast, check everything. We're putting out a lot of work for you. Come through again today. We'll be doing 2 podcasts this week as well. I'm off all next week, so that should be a lot of fun. We don't have too much planned right there. We got a lot of baseball this weekend. I'll be in Brockville, so shout out to that. Yeah, another tournament, baby. We putting up digits. We're doing that, and then
I don't know where that is.
Oh yeah, it's east. So kind of near Kingston-ish.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so we'll do that. So everyone's really excited for all that kind of stuff. So
Canada's it's kind of big.
Canada's a little big, yeah.
It's just a little bit.
A little bit big. But yeah, should be fun times there. And then of course, Obi will be filling in.
Yes, sir. Make sure you check out that podcast when it does drop, because one of the things that was talked about was like discipline and getting away from distractions. And I think that's important, not just in trading, but also in life. And I think that's a good message. So I'm trying not to get distracted by this market flying up to 20,000 and possibly breaking while all these big cap tech names are gone. But Affirm, it's still holding that trend. I just want to look for it getting back in. It's a little bit higher up on this dip than I would like, so I'm not buying the dip just yet. And then we'd mentioned GameStop had started going. And I'm like, yeah, well, if GameStop can also hold VWAP in here on a dip, then that's a setup I would like. It's there now, so this would be the opportunity. I could draw you. I don't think it's established a second dip buy to give me a trend yet, but if it holds VWAP here, that does look good. We are not short ARM, unfortunately, as ARM is breaking the low of the day. So we have to, sometimes you just want to adjust your plan. I don't want to stray too far away from it at this point. There's no obvious flat bottom break here. So let me look at the 155 and also look at that VWAP for the retracement. I only want to be short this name, so I'm not going to fight the trend on that. AMD, I'm still looking for another entry into AMD. If it's not going to be the top, which is up here, like 161, 161 quarter was a close on Friday, then it's got to be failing back underneath VWAP. So these are the ones I'm looking for shorts to set back up. And you're in the middle of nowhere. We're no man's land for AMD, so I'm not jumping back into it yet. I just feel like you got to be patient. So I don't mind sitting here flat. Apple just continues to run. There might be a 210 break on Apple, which I don't want to forget about. If that's how Apple wants to be, 210 was on Friday. I wasn't here at the close, but clearly it broke 210 with some gusto at 350. You can see the support. Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. I wasn't here. You guys can tell me what that looked like, but it looks like there was a huge buyer on Apple all afternoon at 210, and then at 350, it just died underneath $210. So if it gets to that price, I'm expecting there's probably a decent offer there. It's a big even dollar level, and then you can take like a scalp breakout trade or something along those lines. But it has to get there first.
Yeah, we might have had one of the best moments. It's too bad you weren't here for it. One of the best moments in Trader TV Live by shorting that Apple trade. It really, if I can find where it was, we were short there. Oh, man, I don't know if I have a picture of it. It just fell like crazy. Now we don't. Oh yeah, here it is, right here. Yeah, so this was a whoopsies. That's golf. This was a great Great trade, just boom, fell right down. Let's just have a quick look at this trade there from Friday. There's that 210, 211, and then we were talking about, guys, we want to get short. We want to get short Apple, and then boom, fell into 207 from 210, $3 straight down. That got everybody jumping there. So again, that's another example right there of sticking with your guns, sticking with the trade that you wanted to put on, and just hitting pay dirt right there with Apple on Friday. So yeah, that was a good look there for sure. Came through, and then Nvidia, same kind of ways. It was a great trading opportunity. There wasn't. I mean, that's the thing. Everyone was so hyped up about the imbalances, and then it didn't really turn out to be too much. There was some good trades that were had. You guys saw one right there with Apple.
Yeah, it looks like crowd was nothing, obviously.
Yeah, it was really just overhyped and not much to deliver unless you traded it. So that was a good trade there. There wasn't too much on the close, but and then we had another crazy one on, was it KKR? I don't remember what it was, but we absolutely. It was like a clinic there in rebalancing on Fridays. I want to thank everybody for watching that, and a big shout out to my guy Obi as well for taking the wheel on a lot of that. So that was great. Thanks, Obi, again for that. I was looking over there. Obi again today, man, on the leaderboard. Congrats, Obi, for that one. Yeah, you didn't know I was a lefty. Yes, I am, Adam, but I'm not really. I just golf left, shoot hockey left. I am right-handed though. I just do everything left. All right, so. Look, Nvidia is still a dollar club. It's a dollar right now, and it just bounced off of 122.50 again. So that would have been that dollar. We did get something out when it came back into 123. So here we go. Nice little push back down in for Nvidia. We still got this one on, and we just took out some more when we popped up. Remember, we were buying these 95s, 93s. Well, we just got something out at 03, something out at O's, and something out at 98s. So Palantir looks pretty weak here as it does want to come back in. It's a good move for Palantir today. It was down a couple percentage points, had that move down into 23, and then now the retracement all the way back up. So far, so good there for that. We're not going to get Micron. I know Neil was already on Tesla there.
I don't want to say never.
Oh, no, you could get it.
Pulling back right now.
Yeah, and then I know that you tried this Tesla trade. This is also pulling back into the 200, so that could be something again for us here. But like I said, we are very, very positive today, and we don't really want to slip up too much. So there it is. We got it at 75% of that Palantir trade as it just broke through 90s. Let's hold on to the last 25% just in case it does want to hold VWAP. Palantir, a positive name, but you know, it did come back in there, and we wound up getting out of, I think, our last 25% or so for that bottom take there. So not as great as it could have been, but it was fun while it lasted. Palantir. We have outs up at 19s and 20s, so that was good. It was a good day for Palantir, but it's not a good day late. Let's hold on to the last little bit. We could still make it back. All this has to do is get to 24 again, and we'll make it back, but looking for a little bit more. We'll hear from Neil when we get back from Madeira after this, something that we haven't traded at all, I don't think. Small cap recap.
IWM definitely outperforming the SPY and the NASDAQ as of right now. Having a bit of a bull flag formation, up almost 1% on the day. So nice look for the Russell 2000, and lots of these small caps running around today, including Micro Algo, MLGO. This one has been moving around the last few days, currently up about 50%. No catalyst on this one that I could see, but we have a float of about 3 million shares, so smaller float for MLGO. Next up, we have Teladoc, which is a bit of a smaller cap here, $1.65 billion market cap for this one, up about 10% right now, announcing at this diabetes conference that their predictive AI modeling has led to increased engagement among diabetes members. So just showing some positive research at a conference, TDOC here. Now, last but not least, we have Altimmune, ALT, this one presenting some data at the same conference for its obesity treatment. So good look for ALT here. Quite a few small caps on watch, guys.
Good look for Altimmune there. We haven't really been involved. We talked about MLGO, but haven't really traded any of those just yet. I am in the ARM short. It just wicked up to VWAP, came back down to 155, so I got in 15s here, 155.15 that is. With ARM, I always like to be cautious isn't the right word, but if it makes one move into VWAP, generally speaking, it'll sit around here for a while. I'd have to go back to last week to show you exactly the last time we had that trade. I think it was. Yeah, if you look at it in here on Thursday when it trended down, like it lost, there's your break of the high, loses VWAP, upside and then kind of takes it again. To look for that short, you need to hold underneath. And sometimes it does that wick above and then a consolidation under. So I want to give it that chance to make a wick above VWAP or at VWAP before I add anything. And then low of the day first target is going to make some sense. Apple is tracking toward that 210 break. It's a scalp trade for me if we get an Apple breakout. It's at an obvious. I usually say I don't want to punch long in overhead resistance. So I acknowledge there's 210 and then there's 211 up there. But if it does a quick move breaking 210, you get 5s long, you can scalp 25, 50s, 75, 100, then I'll just go ahead and do that. When I say 100, I mean the dollar on Apple. So I will take the 210 break if it does make that move, but just got to wait for it to happen. AMD, we'd like that reload, but remember I said be patient. Suddenly AMD looks strong. That's higher lows, that's trending up. That means we wait for the next level up. So that could be $1 away on advanced micro devices, and suddenly that looks relatively strong. We've seen it before where Nvidia tanks and AMD is a strong one. So we got out of Dodge at VWAP and we're patiently waiting for another entry point. I said we might still have a chance at Micron. This could easily track back down off that 140 to give you a double bottom entry. If that happens, I'll look for the entry on MU, and then AFRM, which has been the good long. There's the hold again of this trend, dipping, getting kind of to VWAP, but it's getting a more steep trend line in here. So I'm now following the trend line and not VWAP. I'm going to jump into this. If it loses 32, I'm out. It's a very, very steep trend line now.
All right. Yeah, talk about trend lines. Again, we should have just, sometimes you're going to question, like, based on how the market's moving at that moment, and you're going to try to make, decisions that are maybe shorter term decisions instead of longer term decisions. And for some reason, we did not short Nvidia there. We were looking at it. We said, well, if it breaks 124, we want to get out, and it came close to doing that. But we should have been reshort into this level. I'm not saying that I'm like missing, like, oh my God, I can't believe we're not short 124. I don't think that was the right play there. It was more just the look at the stock and then to see like where we were. We could have gone short like 70s or 80s and just added to the position and still use that same stop. But for right now, obviously you can see we cannot complain about this one. $1.70 now in the money, and still remains, top there today for Nvidia for me. So we'll stay on that. We only have Palantir back in as well. I've wanted to buy Apple all day, so let's have a quick look at this. It's only 10.25. I mean, there's lots of opportunities. Wow, 209.50. Like, we wanted this name. And we talked about it. It is on the trade of the week for me to buy Apple. It's just, trying to figure out what levels is another story altogether. So Apple right there, 209. I guess pullbacks into the 50 period. That's something that we've always noted. So 208.50 could be something. Amazon was another name that we talked about trying to get long. That's at a high of the day.
Yeah,
so that's another one, 189.50. Again, on any kind of pullbacks, shorting the. I mean, I'm just trying to give you, like, there's been so many opportunities to trade today. It's been actually quite crazy. Shorting the NASDAQ up here as well at 20,000 was a monster opportunity that, like, quite frankly, I'm surprised I don't have that trade. So that's something there that, not too happy with that. Not being able to have that trade. So that's something there for the NASDAQ. And here comes Palantir. So we just got long right now. We're 75. I mean, VWAP is right here. I had marked down 75 as our out. It looks like, I don't know what I was looking at, because I guess maybe that should have been 85. That's 82 right there. So I think like maybe we should have got out of that, but we are bidding it right now. We are long at 81s. So let me just get a piece out here, because we just took probably too many shares there. Downside, not too many, but Palantir's not looking great. All right, we'd rather play super strong stocks to the long side, which is why we switched over to Amazon and Apple. I thought this was long, doesn't appear to be. So Palantir right now breaking through 23.75. We are going to get out of that trade. So if that does come through, we're out of Palantir, and it looks like that is what's going to happen. The trend just changed up here. I don't know why. The market definitely turned. So that's what I was going to say. It's possibly something to do with that, but we just get our 81 there. We're starting to get a little bit more out here on Palantir. I really don't trust this name down here, guys.
Yeah, speaking of down here, another bounce off 154. You're going to see I'm out of ARM. It just bounced off 154 third time. So we're going to get VWAP again if it pulls back. I'm still on the offer where we wanted to add to it the first time. This is trend down. It's obviously weaker than AMD, but that's why we pivoted over to it. I was first looking short on AMD trending up. So we went over to something which is actually setting up to the short side of the trade, and we'll jump back into it if we can. As you said with Palantir, kind of the same thing happening here on Affirm as, let me show you. I lazily drew that trend line over here, but I have it drawn a little bit more cleanly. My 3-minute chart over in black. Should have hit save to give it to you. But if we got to hold on to the trend, I said 32, it's actually 31.90 where you put that trend in. So I'm long at 6s, it's about 15 pennies worth of risk. And if we get to that top, which is 32.40, we're going to be taking profit going back into that. Apple is still cruising for the highs. So you don't have to, it's like the only, I shouldn't say that. I haven't looked at every single stock in the market. So it's one of the only things which is pressing the highs as the market tanks, which leads me to believe it should still be a long breakout if it gets there. But the market is now pulling back into the lows. So I'm not going to be sitting there expecting that breakout to happen anytime soon over in Apple. It is ARM I want to jump back into on any kind of a pop. As long as it follows the trend down, this is the name I want to stay short. Down 4% when the market was trying to go green.
Yeah, we have Micron on alert here coming back in as well. So we'll start the bidding now for Micron. We don't want to hold this too long. We do want to take a much bigger position if it comes into 140. So let's just try to buy a couple dips here. Palantir gave up that bottom, so we'll get out of Palantir now. We're now $2.50 in that. Like AMD, Nvidia, like these. The more and more I look at other names, the more it's like, why? Like, we already have this trade. This is already such a huge trade. And it just continues to get better. Like, now we're at the bottom of the day. You know, the number one idea was to go short. You just stick with that, and you don't get screwed up or screwing around too much with some of these trades like this. Okay, so we did get out there. We take a 20-cent hit on Micron, which is fine by me, as we come back in a lot more than where we are right now. Nice little drop into 19,000 right now. Sorry, 19.9, not 19,000. For the NASDAQ. All right, Nvidia is now $3 in the money and going lower. But so is Micron coming back in to break 140. What's up, Abe?
We have the crypto update. We also have the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index for June coming in here. Previous 19.4, forecast of -13. Let's see what the number is here for this index. Just waiting for that print here. As we wait for that print, we can take a look at crypto here. Bitcoin having a further drop after last week, according to this Bloomberg report here. Its second largest drop of the year, fell about 5%. This is its second largest drop since April. Was the next largest drop at that point. So lots of weakness here in BTC, especially these BTC ETFs. Some outflows here as well. Interesting look here for the weekly chart for Bitcoin. We're hanging out just above the 61,000 level. Looking at a bit of previous support here on the Bitcoin weekly chart as well. So this could be an area worth noting. But this looks like we're set for our third straight week of downside here for BTC. Definitely keep an eye on that. In terms of the other cryptocurrency related names here, both Ethereum and Bitcoin down about 5%. Ethereum just holding on to this 3,300 level here. BNB, Solana down about 3+%. Dogecoin down about 4%. Cardano down about 3%. Very little positivity here across the board for this crypto. Generally, a lot of downside. Let's see if we got that Dallas Fed manufacturing number here. Coming in at -16.1 versus the estimate here of -15 or -13. So slightly lower than the expected, guys.
Man. There's Micron. Like, I was just like, what are you even doing, Micron, honestly? Damn, it's too bad that we didn't hold all of that. Came right into 140. Again, the exact level that we had talked about came in again. Thankfully, we were sitting there. And that's where we talk about it, luck and opportunity. You know, just being able to see a stock. We didn't see it the first time. We saw it the second time. We took a shot early. We should not have. We waited for 140. We loaded it up, and there's Micron, a positive name for us today. So, yeah, that was good, man. We almost slipped up there on Micron. Like, I was like, oh my God, here it's coming right in. And then we do get saved, I guess, a little bit by that number as the market kind of goes back up, but not really. 20 handles. But look, when you play the strong names to the strong side, look what happens, man. We're now almost $1 in the money again on Micron, and we just looked over at this thing. So there it is, another hopefully good trade here for a lot of you there on Micron, as we like that 140 level, and this time we actually got it, 140.05. So right there, a nice little 80-cent winner off the sticky note.
Yeah, good look there. That economic number coming out, it wasn't necessarily expected to be the biggest market mover, but you are bouncing off those lows. I'm going to acknowledge here, I went over immediately when you had that move and it started to go. I'm like, let's go to Apple because Apple's trending to the upside. And Apple about to press the high of the day again. I'm still looking for the 210 breakout, but I am on the dip here for Apple at the 209. It's just way too strong to ignore it. If it gets to that price before we get a dip buy, fair enough. I got no issues with that, but we're at least going to try it. ARM is coming back into the pocket for me, starting to bounce off 153. We're looking to get to VWAP in here again, where I think this should still stay a short. If it breaks out 55s and breaks out VWAP, we're going to stay away from it. And then Mara came right back into VWAP, flushed underneath. There's a pullback. I'm short at 60s, right at VWAP, giving it to the 75 level. And one last one I want to jump over to, if we can, is going to be AMD. We said we'd let AMD set back up for a short. I was very, very close when that was under VWAP to looking to actually hitting the key and jumping into the short trade, and the market bounced on that number. And AMD right back up at the highs. We probably dodged a bullet there, but it was the fact that it was that 1030 hit, and AMD went boop down 150, looked like it was setting up the short, and then right back up at the top. I'm going to stick to ARM. AMD looks way too strong. All right, relatively speaking, I should say. It's down 1%.
All right, what's for lunch? Okay, not bad. I mean, if you're looking for some pub food today, not bad. Maybe you have a little hungover from the weekend. You're doing your own thing here. I didn't have one drink this weekend. Pub-style chicken fingers. Not bad.
What makes them pub style is my question.
Fabian like that. Who knows? Roasted red pepper wedges. So not bad. It's a little bit of maybe a higher level French fry with the roasted red potato. Ooh, red potato. That's nice. So right there, we'll see what happens now with our salad. I'm going to say tuna again. We had a couple eggs on it last week. That's pretty. I don't like just a half egg there. I'd rather have the egg salad or something.
Yeah, the egg salad's better than when they just do the hard-boiled egg.
Yeah, they were doing some hard-boiled eggs last week.
One hard-boiled egg on your salad is not a protein.
Yeah. All right, so that will be it. So shout out to Sebastian. You are right. It is what's for lunch, and it was chicken. So today, that's completely fine by me because today's been sort of, the theme of the day has been chicken dinner winners. We haven't said it yet, though. But if you have been trading alongside, then you're hopefully having a good day because we're having a pretty good one here as well. And really, my whole day has been carried by Nvidia because Palantir turned out to be a nothing burger after all, as it did fall back in. Now it's starting to bounce. Again, we could always have used that 200 period right there. We missed out on that one. Come over to the screen here, Fabes. Right there, 2360, 2370. We could have used a 200 instead. We used VWAP. That didn't work out. Okay. And then Micron. I mean, come on. So we've given you two trades today, right? This Micron trade is obviously $1 now in the money. That's straight off the sticky note. The Nvidia is $3 in the money, so we've already talked about that. And then the Palantir break of 24 was huge. But we did, wind up losing as it came back in. So that's, that trade is not going to be the belle of the ball by any stretch of the imagination. But we will end the day positive and in the spot that we need to be with one of our best. I mean, I know I sound like a broken record, but without showing you P&L, I can't prove it other than just telling you this is one of the best mornings I've had for the month. So right there, and you can ask us, either of us, any of those kind of questions at any time. Even the midday show, I actually gave Adara kind of crap last week and again, she appreciated it, so I appreciate that, Adara, as well. Just saying that, it's about having a more positive talk. It's like, you don't always have to say, although I'm not having a good day, this is what I'm looking to do now. It's like, you could see by the trades. I mean, you could ask, right? Like right now, I'll be 2 for 3. And it's just, instead of saying, that one trade on Palantir, I wish it worked out, we'll focus on the ones that are working out. And then that's why I'm here to tell you that, from what we've been showing you on the show here today, it's a very positive day, and it's been really good for myself. So I feel like that's the way you want to talk, and then that way, when you're starting to see better opportunities, they'll become more clear to you because you're looking for them, and you have confidence in what you're looking for instead of sort of always dwelling back on some of those bad trades. And when I look at trades that sort of sometimes you mess up on, I'm like, good thing I kind of got out there because if not, then I would have maybe lost 30 or 40 more cents to the downside if you don't get out. right? My biggest problem is like, okay, we have these great trades, but to be able to hold them all to get that, or hold them all to get here. So it's about getting in and out of some trades. But again, you know, thanks for watching. I'm sure you guys can see what's happening, and it's been a good day. So Micron still up that dollar into VWAP. Let's take a piece out, 41.35, if we're able to do that there on Micron, and then look for some other names that we can try to find some strength in. But hey, man, so far so good here today.
That's hilarious. Someone just said, what's that guy trading behind you with the absolute V shape? That looks like an Apple chart. To me, only because I have the Apple chart up right now, so I'm assuming you're looking in the middle. That is Apple, and that's not a V shape, because a V shape goes right back up to the other side of the V. That's the other side of the V, and that's another $3 up. So like it's much stronger than that. Apple is. This wasn't necessarily on my plan of stocks to trade, but the 210 level, it just got to 209.96. I thought the break was imminent, so I have an order for the breakout. I also have an order for the dip buy off of 209. So I want to be ready for it when it does happen. Always move on to that next trade. And the next one looks like Apple to me. But if you shorted it off at 210, congratulations, because you could have been short like 95s there, risking 5 cents. I'm looking for the only direction that I like on it when it's trending up. It's up 1%. It's a strong stock as far as I'm concerned. So we'll jump back over to that one when it does come back in. Looks like ARM does not seem to want VWAP. Now all of a sudden you got this 154.5, which is turning into pretty clear resistance on ARM. So I'm waiting here at VWAP, $1 higher, and it looks like it wants to go off this 154.5 level. So the stairs are headed into the downside on ARM. Just want to stick with, again, like ARM has been a good stock for me, shorting it, even though it's been a generally long trending stock, as you can tell, but the short has paid off when it fails a breakout of the high. It hasn't been the best for me because I didn't get everything in like we usually do. But if it comes into VWAP, we'll look to make that one more time here. And then before we go to Adara, a firm lost trend to the upside, but has held on to 31.50. So it's held on to that original dip price, but once it lost the trend line I got out of it, it could always bounce. As long as it's above 31.5 or maybe back above VWAP, I'll look for opportunities to get back into the long. But I am now out of it for the first time of the day. Firm up 6%. It was up double digits at one point, and worth mentioning, it turned right at the 200 period on the daily chart. So I want to put that one in the back of my mind. 32.50 is a big resistance level for Firm, at least for now. It could always break that one out in a heartbeat later on in the day. Let's get to Adara. It's 10:40.
32.50.
Time for Sector Watch.
31.50.
Lots of green here to talk about on this board. Finance, pretty much green across the board here. We actually have bank earnings starting in just a few weeks, so this sector could definitely be on watch. Health technology, pretty green here as well. Consumer services, commercial services, energy, minerals, utilities, health services, consumer durables, transportation, communications. A lot of these sectors can be really strong. A bit more mixed here in retail, trade, and producer manufacturing with AMAT. A little bit to the downside here. And of course, we have to talk about these tech sectors. This chip weakness continuing in electronic technology. Nvidia, Qualcomm, Broadcom, all pretty significantly to the downside here. And then as well in the technology services space, a little bit weaker. Worth noting, though, IBM pretty strong, getting a price target increase and analyst upgrade there. So IBM on watch, but we have some weakness here in Netflix and CRM amongst others. So a bit of a more mixed day for these tech names, but pretty strong for the rest of the market, guys.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, market trying to come down a little bit right now. I mean, we're good because we got Nvidia, but we also have a little bit left of Micron. We have about 10 or 13% left of Micron. So I was so surprised that moved up for us. So we'll try to buy a little bit more down here in and around 140 flat again. We'll see if Micron wants to hold that bid. We got 05s last time. We didn't get any out at 141. We will do that next time. We will get some out here at 141 if it does come back up. And then we're going to hold against that bottom. So, you know, we can't hold the dollar. I mean, we held the dollar in the money. We're going to try to hold it back in here again as well if it does fall back. So, I mean, Micron, we want to try to stay long these names. So far today, it's been a Micron, Nvidia, and Palantir kind of day for us. So I'm pretty happy and proud of all of those names. Palantir did battle back. So that was one other thing that I wanted to bring up to everyone's attention. Palantir did make that, did make that move back in. So right back up to the 50-period moving average. So could have been held probably, but it broke. And again, you know, other than using the 200 period, we'll wait to see if that comes back in again. Bitcoin and IBIT. quickly, just to look over this. Doesn't look like we're happening much right now. We're back near those lows. Right when the market opened up, Bitcoin was sort of trying to get near that 60,000. So that was IBIT down here, 34.70. Looks like it's trying to lose this bid as well. Oh, if you want to trade this thing technically, like I haven't really looked at it, but you're under the 200 under. Like to me, this is a short right now in crypto. So if you like this short, there it is, even going lower right now. I think you can just push the short. We're now $1, $2, $3 in the money on this Nvidia trade, and yeah, doing pretty good. So we're about the same level now as we were before when we said that we were going to go to the beach. So we have spent that's been about an hour here just entertaining, and I hope that's what it's been for all of you. There it is, man. Nice move down for Nvidia. Fire off the hot dog, Gannon. Because if you are on the beach, maybe you want to enjoy some dogs. Nice move in. There it goes. Keeps on going. Bye-bye, Nvidia. See you later. It's at 120 already. We're short 123.50 here on Nvidia. 350 now in the money on this trade.
Great trade over there on Nvidia. Some opportunity cost has gone to the wayside here. I'm going to get to DJT just because a lot of people are talking about it. It's breaking out the high right now. There's zero chance of a chase of this move, and the trend is like clearly your friend. I did say this, and I did pay for locates. If this thing gets to if the stock gets to the $40 range, I'm looking for the short. I just want to point out why. It could happen in the midday. I think at this point you're trending towards it. 38 to 42 was a big wide zone for this in front of the 50 period on the daily. And at this point, it seems pretty decent chance that with a couple more pushes, it gets to that price. They were not free, but they were 4 cents per share, and I'm more than willing to pay for the locates on those. Now AMD is starting to look a little bit weaker. We wanted to wait.
Wow.
I said be patient.
Wow.
Either it's breaking down or giving us the short off the top. Suddenly AMD working back into the downside. Just needs to break trend in here, and then we're going to jump back into that. ARM is way too far gone at this point. If we had gotten the reload, again, we didn't get the reload off 154.5. It's already at 152. So I want to look to a move that I can join where it has to play some catch up, and that would be AMD if it can hold underneath VWAP. That would be the next trade unless we get some kind of an Apple break, which is still pretty close. 30 cents for an Apple break. I'm still taking 210.
Wow. We are now almost $5 in the money. Nvidia's at 119 change right now. So this is starting to go. We did take a hit on Micron. We actually will go red there on Micron as it does take out that 139.50. But wow, look at this drop. I'm bidding one up there. That's still Micron. Hold on. Look at Nvidia right now. Look at this. We have this short. I'm bidding 119. So maybe we fall in here off of that level, maybe we don't. But right now, let's give it a shot. 119, we're trying to buy that level. This was the bottom so far for this, so let's buy that. We'll try to pick up maybe some Micron down here as well, just in case. Ooh, it doesn't look like it wants to bounce. That is Nvidia off of 119. That's too bad. All right, we did get some Micron back in at 50 there. I tried to punch 30s and change when I saw that kind of bounce, so we are still bidding down here in and around 33s actually. For Micron, I just canceled it. Let me put it back in there. There we go. We got it back. So hopefully we get that bid as Nvidia does bounce back. And here comes Micron. It's really coming in now. So watch out for Micron breaking through 138. We'll get out if that does happen. Right now we're long again on Micron and short on Nvidia. So looks like the short is what wants to print here. Wow, just to have been in this name only would have been real nice. We did throw some money back here on Micron, so watch out for a 138 take here on MU. I didn't think we'd get this low, but we are. I'm not hearing anything about the market, but we are starting to break lower.
Yeah, I've heard nothing. I'm just going to restart my new service. I haven't heard really anything. But the thing that could be bouncing the market, I'm going to make an assumption that if the market is bouncing, it has something to do with the high of the day here on Apple. It's back to the 210 again, so same drill. 210 break. I thought this would be the next trade. The market tanked, and it's still the 210 break here on Apple. I do want to short, like I said, I want to short pops if we get them in ARM, but the next thing coming in seems to be, while the market is lower, Apple continues to go higher. It's not the only name that's strong, but it's the only one testing a big, massive level that we want. Before it happens, I have a level 2 dedicated to it, so if it breaks, it's not like it's going to do it without me. But there's also this trend on AMD, which it's a steep one, it's higher lows. This breaks underneath 159.5. I still want to be short AMD. What I want to be short on my terms, which is either at the top, or when this thing breaks that trend line. So if it's starting to go right now, so that's why I drew this for you. It's a bit of a steep trend. It's kind of nasty, lazily drawn, I would say. But 159.50 is the level
I mean, no,
on
of course
AMD
not.
where I'd be short. 5 cents away from Apple breaking 210. That could still come into play. Just if you were shorting off that level on Apple, you could be scalping it, but I'm only looking in one direction, and that would be the long. It's too strong. There's plenty of other things we can get into. Here comes AMD to 159.5, needs to break, and then we're in.
I mean, we're still trying
Apple
to.
does not want to break.
Yeah, we're still trying to find out with Micron here. It looks like it is going to try to break lower here, and not be a very nice trade. There goes Micron again. Oh man, that sucks to give back on Micron here. We like this trade, but I guess all the chip names, starting with Nvidia, we're still $4, and that's still going lower and lower and lower right now on that name. We don't necessarily. I mean, this is. I still like Micron's strength, even though it's red and the market's red. I still thought Micron had a chance there. They get that upgrade. They have earnings, but hey, maybe this is like really spooking those earnings right now, right? So that's 138.50 coming in on Micron. That could be a level right there. So let's figure that out. Okay, well, here it comes in again. Like, wow, the whole thing is falling down, man. There's your 118, by the way, on Nvidia. So
117.
Yeah. So we just got filled right there for $5 as this plane comes crashing in, and there it goes, man. There's breaking through 118 on this name. We are still going lower on Nvidia, and it is just coming in
And dragging everything with it, by the way.
Yeah, dragging absolutely everything with it, as we talked about what's been happening here with Micron.
Even Apple just gave up again at 210.
Yeah, even Apple. I mean, if Apple is going to be a good buy opportunity at some point. So, all right, well, I guess I'm not getting those 124 and changes there, but I just hope that everyone did enjoy this trade. So here's Nvidia. You know, basically one idea. We were able to get one reload. That's too bad that we didn't do it there. But there's the downside move here for Nvidia. Honestly, it is what it is, and this is a nice downside move here. The market is really giving it up, and here comes that 117 on Nvidia. 118.50 just got taken out. The bottom is 118.30s or so, 118.40, coming lower and lower and lower right now. Nvidia, there it is, man. Now you're down 15% from its highs and going lower.
Almost that 20 spot, the 20%, which has been the standard pullback for Nvidia.
Yep.
I'm not saying you bounce off 20% automatically. 217 is the post-split bottom. I'm not thinking long until that price. If I see a monster bid and it tries to catch a bid there, I'm going to be looking long. I'm not standing in front of that one like a freight train. But we're about to go to Adara. I wanted to point out the trend break did happen on AMD. We waited for that to set up. It broke the trend. We got short 44s underneath 50. We've already scalped out halfway to that low of the day. Low of the day is the 158 level where we'll jump out of that trade. So AMD had to wait for the setup, at least for myself. I wasn't looking 161. I would have looked closer to the Friday afternoon highs, and it never got there. So we waited for it to break the trend line, jumped right in the second it did, and now we're headed to the desk for Money Talks with Adara.
Yeah.
The XY to the downside here pretty significantly, but finding a little bit of support at this 105.50 area, which has been a little bit of resistance in the past. This could be an interesting level, this 105.50 for the DXY. Not a ton of economic data today, though we will get lots more later in the week, but we did get this Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index coming in for June. A little bit higher than expected, so negative 15.1, or sorry, lower than expected because negative 15.1 versus the estimate of negative 15, but higher than the previous number for May, which was negative 19.4. So bit of a month-over-month increase here for the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index for June. We also had some comments from Fed's Goolsbee earlier today on CNBC saying, amongst other things, that the Fed's policy is significantly restrictive, that he's hopeful that we'll get some more data to get that confidence that inflation is heading back to 2%, really just echoing what we've heard from a lot of Fed speakers as of late. We also have Fed's Daily coming through at 2 p.m., so that'll definitely be on watch. Tomorrow, a bit more Fed's Bowman set to speak twice and Fed's Cook set to speak, so we'll have to see what all these Fed speakers have to say ahead of the Fed meeting minutes coming in next week, guys.
Wow, they're really relentlessly buying every single dip in Apple. Despite what the market is doing, if you can't tell an upward trend when you see it, well, I mean, a trend is a trend. It doesn't really matter. Like higher highs up in here, and every time I try to jump on the bid when this thing dips, it's probably algo buying. Most things are algo buying, but it just flies back upside, and you could end up chasing it. But I'm just trying not to do that. So the 210 break could still be the play here. as the market continues to go lower. I'm just chuckling because that's exactly what happened on the last dip on the 3-minute at 1040. I tried to bid in front of like 209.20. It then shot up. I tried to bid in front of 209.40, and again, this thing just continues to shoot higher. So I think it's the 210 break still coming into play here on Apple. Just going to have to cancel the dip buy and go back to the breakout trade here on what is, I hesitate to say the strongest name, but I mean, it's probably the strongest name out there. It might be. I haven't looked at my quote board in a hot minute, so I don't want to tell you that it's the biggest and strongest of the big cap tech names. I felt like you had given some back there on Meta at least. So there's the Apple 210 break. It needs to work right away as far as I'm concerned, because I've seen this party before when Apple makes a big breakout. So a quarters first, and then work into the 50s, and then we'll see if it goes into that 210, 211 level. Remember, the 211 on Friday, I wasn't here on Friday, but you can see 210 to 211 was a pretty distinct range. So I want to play this station to station and scalp into that 211 level and only have a small piece on if it ends up breaking 211. Apple defiantly breaking the high of the day and continuing to go higher as the market literally just made a fresh low. You got to be, look, relative strength and weakness matters end of day.
Yeah, for sure. We're long Apple now as well, so it's going to be a good trade hopefully for that one. We're back into the Micron long and Apple. That's it. So we did get out of that Nvidia. Probably got out of it a bit too early. I don't know, 119. It does make that move down. So let's see, man. Let's go Apple right now. We'll put Apple right back in the pocket. We like that call. So here it goes. Nice move, breaking through 210. And there it is, man. This is a good trade. Let's go Apple. Here we go, baby. Breaking through now. So again, these are the trades. These are the levels that you look to put some shares on. Boom. Breaking through 211. Now it's another 50-cent winner. We'll hit that hot dog cannon there for Apple as it starts to go back up to the upside. Okay, Apple. 210 50s. Let's go. 210. We gave this was going to be the trade of the week, but it looks like it's happening already early here on Monday. We'll wait for 210.65. We're out of 40% right there for about 40 cents. So now let's wait to see what happens next for our friend Apple. Nvidia's trying to make a move down. That's okay. So right now we're long Micron, long Apple with only 5 minutes to go. So yeah, great job, Aaron Smith. We'll spin the money for you as you are still in Nvidia, as you say there on the chat. And congratulations, man. I think that to have the Nvidia trade on today was pretty standard, and yeah, glad to have that. Let's just see if the rest can work out, and by gosh, there it goes. It is Apple, and let's spin it off right now. Good trade there. Neil's got this trade. We've got this trade, and I hope you have this trade as well. Apple starting to get going here again. Good move on this name, AAPL. 210, man. We like that. And again, the top two trades today, Nvidia short, Apple long, and they are print factories right now.
Yeah, absolute print factory. But remember, I still think this 211 on an Apple can be a thing. Rebalance day was what it is. If I see a stock sell off like this, off a key price level, then I want to take profit going into it. So we set into 211. We would hang on to a piece of it for the dream. If 211 breaks, I'm not adding it a 211 break. I'll look for a failed break, dip back into 210. Apple is clearly the bell of the ball at this moment. Man. And I said maybe there were some other things going and looking pretty good. Meta gave it all the way back and bouncing off the bottoms. So Meta was strong. It's still up 1%. But Meta all the way back to where this started. It is an Apple story at this moment. And AMD, yeah, AMD trying to track off this 159. The market's making it turn because Apple's making it turn at this moment. So you want to be careful. To me, I want to be careful reloading anything at VWAP, which is making higher lows. So I'll wait for some confirmation before getting back into any short in AMD. And that goes same for ARM. ARM is weak and much, much weaker than AMD, but I got to find an entry here. It could be VWAP. Maybe it is 154.5. But in the middle of the day, you don't want to give it all back or anything like that. You want to be very, very patient with your entry spot. So if it's 153, the previous low that it curls, I'll take a shot there. If it busts through that and gets up to VWAP, I'll take a shot there on ARM. But ARM down 5% and not looking very good at all. DJT, we only have 3 minutes to go, so just want to go over some of the names here. DJT, there hasn't been a solid dip buy that I like, so I'm not in it. If I see 40 or above 38, I'm looking to short DJT, but it's still a ways away. I think it could get there, decent chance of that. And then the other squeeze name that we haven't paid too much attention to, GameStop. A little surprising to me that it's up. because there wasn't really any kind of a catalyst for GameStop. But when it's trending up, I think joining the trend usually pretty good. Starting to pull back now, so VWAP sits at 24. That's where I would look for GME. So here comes Apple. If we get back to 210 and bounce, then we look to go long on Apple one more time here at the 210 after the break.
I just want to show you guys the benefit again of scalping out, right? I mean, we just got a 210.70 fill there on Apple. So we really just made 50 cents again because we could reload that position again down there, right? And so take it out, get an opportunity. I still have 40% of this trade, but you can reload it again down here at the downside. We have just done pretty decently here on Micron, being able to buy that dip. It just went to 139.50. Micron, you know, battle back. We did lose it at 139, but a nice move back up to 139.50 there for Micron, trying to get some of that money back. Apple, I'm not going to reload it right here. I'll wait for a little bit lower than this level, but it could be definitely something to look at as you look for the strongest names in the place, and Apple definitely fits that. $1.50 now. I'm thinking on Micron. We're not back to 140. I do have an offer at 139.90. We're getting close enough to that level right now. I didn't realize Micron moves like this insane. Wow. Okay, that's $2 now on Micron. Like honestly, I haven't looked at these things in a minute. But that was a monster move back there for MU. So MU is a friend of mine today, as there goes Micron, nicely done back up to the upside. No idea that it moves this insane. But Micron, great job, back up to 140 as the market really starts to rally. And you want to talk about taking profits there. I mean, Nvidia really slipped up to the downside, but we already got that back in. So we are now out of Nvidia. Congratulations to anybody that bought the dip. $2 in on Micron, 40 cents in on Apple. Today is a good day.
It is a good day, and I want to answer the question by Jesse Munson. I did go over where I wanted to get back into Affirm, but it just hasn't happened yet. 31.5 had to hold, and if 31.5 holds, then I want to look for a long consolidation off VWAP. So there's 31.5 holding. Now I want strength. It just broke VWAP 2 seconds ago, so if it can hold above there, maybe go sideways and consolidate. This is the time of the day that I think you let something, simmer for a little bit, right? So let it simmer here at VWAP, and if it wants to show me that strength, then we get into the trade. Apple, I am still on the bid here. I was trying to get a reload in front of 210. I can tell you that clearly you can see I didn't get filled, so I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that order. We scalped out as well when it got to that mid-70s, but I was looking for the dip buy back at 210. It got as far as 210.13, so not quite filling me. I was sitting at like 6, trying to get it in front of 210. So Apple's still trend up. Wow. I do want to get this back in the long. If the market gets to green, and I'm talking about the NASDAQ, if the NASDAQ gets to green here, I know it's 11 o'clock, but if we get green on the NASDAQ, I think Apple trends until we get to Friday's highs on the NASDAQ. So I still want to be long this name and adding to it, but I want to be buying dips instead of taking a 211 break. I think we'll get 1 or 2 shots at it, but it's 11 o'clock. You know what that means. We'll be back at 2. The market is trying to go, and Apple's doing everything in its power to try and hold this thing off of the lows. Let's see if we can do more heavy lifting as we send you to Sharif and Adara. Go get them.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade.